What a piece of junk.
This is the Shattered Order podcast.
Go switch off.
If you're looking for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes news, information, and theory crafting, you've found the podcast you're looking for. With your hosts, GoodNightPunk and WinKILLERinc.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 175th episode of the Shattered Order podcast. I'm your host, GoodNightPunk, and with me, as always, is my good friend Wink. Wink, what's going on, dude?
Well, very much like the Geonosis Lightside Territory battle, I am trying to get very, very buffed. That didn't go as well as I was hoping it. I was trying to come up with something on the fly.
Live show, live show. There's no redos, and so unfortunately,
That is true.
everybody's gonna get that one.
Yeah. Oh well, that's all right. Yeah, no, I am sitting here enjoying a delicious glass of Raywood Cabernet wine. Pretty tasty. Not too shabby at all. It's a wine bottle that doesn't have a cork. What the hell? It's a screw-on bottle, which is nice for this, but I'm just not a big fan. But yeah, as Drew noticed, I am back in the chair this week.
Nice.
Out of the living room. I am actually able to get around this week. Unfortunately, still the knee's still not quite all there. It's a little bit sore and I can barely bend it, but got the staples out, and so I'm on the road to recovery.
Very nice. Very nice. Well, on the same vein as you, I'll let you guys know what I'm drinking, and it's funny because I'm only drinking it because it's all I've got. But I bought this Hop Cloud Hazy IPA from Hess Brewing the other day, thinking it would be awesome because I really like hazy IPAs, and it tastes like flat soda. There's like no carbonate. No carbonation to it. Nothing. It is just dry. So I'm gonna drink that on the podcast and hope that it doesn't make my commentary dry. See?
Let's hope not.
Hey, that one didn't fall flat.
That's certainly true.
I just want to throw this out there for everyone that likes Star Wars. I don't know how many of you are. They're listening to this show, but 2 weeks from today, I don't know if you know this, 2 weeks from today is Rise of Skywalker. 2 weeks. That's it. The wait is finally over.
It's hard to believe that we're that close to the Rise of Skywalker, and just today we got kits or like official information about characters from that show.
Right?
It's crazy.
Like, we are so close to it. So I'm gonna make it a guess here, and that is that those characters will come out next week. That's my guess. Because if they're gonna release 9 of them, I think they said 9 characters and ships mixed, whatever the mix is. I know they're saying that they're focusing on this movie for the next like 3 or 4 months or so until the spring. So they are not all going to come out before the movie or around the movie, but I'm willing to bet they'll probably be coming out soon.
Yep.
Now I see a lot of people, I got some yawns on the movie. Will it be better than The Mandalorian? I don't know about either of those things, but I do know this that ties into Mandalorian, and I'm excited for this. And I don't think it's a spoiler, so I'm going to mention it anyway. But they moved up the Mandalorian episode that was scheduled for the 20th to the 18th, since the movie comes out on the 20th. And the reason for that is pretty awesome because apparently, have no idea what it is or how it does it. Apparently, there's a tie-in to the movie from that episode.
Yeah, we will be talking about that soon on our other show, Chosen Ones, which we hope you're listening to, which is, of course, our Mandalorian reviews. But, yeah, that's pretty cool that there's going to be a little bit of a tie-in there. Pretty exciting, actually. I'm very curious to see what it is because the time errors are completely different. It kind of makes me wonder, is Baby Yoda going to be in The Rise of Skywalker?
You know what I was hoping was that maybe Lando showed up and we finally found out what Lando's been doing between all these movies.
Yeah, that's possible.
Because imagine Billy. I almost called him Billy Ray Cyrus. What a terrible person. Anyways, apparently Billy.
He probably does have an achy breaky heart, but
yeah,
that's.
It'd be nice to see Billy do a guest on that show. I hope that's what it is, but who friggin' knows?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Cool. All right. What's this last little bit of thing before we get to story time with Wink?
I just wanted to say it is SOP Fantasy Football Playoff time. So to all our listeners that are in our Fantasy Football League, I appreciate you guys doing that because that has been super fun this year. I'm in both leagues.
Agreed.
And one is much better for my team than the other, so it helps to have better odds. But I did make the playoffs in both. So to everyone that made the playoffs, good luck. And to those that didn't, good luck next year. And also,
may the odds ever be in your favor.
I am feeling really good going into these playoffs after I beat you last week. So,
yeah.
Which would have been more fun to
honest,
razz you on if you had known that I even fought you last week.
I have 2 money leagues and my dynasty league. The dynasty league is my most important league. It's the one with my best friends that I like to trash talk in. That I'm not the reigning champ, but I have the most championships of anyone in the league, and I like to brag about it. I'm borderline making the playoffs in it. I needed to win last week to have a shoe-in to get in this week, and I didn't, so I need some help this week. And then in another league, I lost, unfortunately. But in the other league, I won, so I'm in the playoffs in that one, so I'm very excited about that. Fingers crossed. We'll see how it goes.
Well, yep, good luck to everyone. You told me that you had a story. I forgot it until you said Wink story time, so I'm looking forward to this.
So the other day, and this, I swear to God, this is Star Wars related. So I went to the Apple store. I was having some problem with my AirPods, so I went to the Apple store and set up a Genius Bar appointment. I'm sure many of you have been through this process. And finally, the guy came up and kind of talking about the issues, checking them out or whatever. Well, I'm just kind of sitting there while he's doing whatever he's doing. So just natural instincts. I pull my phone out, go to Galaxy of Heroes, and he looks at it, he's like, "Hey, I used to play that game." I was like, "Oh, really?" Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, so he's like, "Yeah, I played it from about the time it came out up until, sometime in, he was like maybe July-ish or so." He's like, about the time Relics came out was when I quit. He was like, that was kind of the breaking point for me. I was like, oh, okay. And we kind of started talking about Galaxy of Heroes, and he was kind of talking about how he was thinking about getting back into it. But anyway, I'm trying to remember what his guild name was. He told me, and I was going to give him a shout out, but I can't remember what it was. He wasn't familiar with the podcast, which is disappointment. But if any of you out there had a former guildmate that works at the Apple store in Oklahoma City, that may have been the guy that helped me. But anyway, it was pretty fun. We got to talk about Galaxy of Heroes and stuff. It's not very. I don't run into that many people out in the wild that play but yeah, it was pretty cool to run into somebody that's pretty familiar with the game, and we kind of started talking about the new territory battle and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I've met 1 or 2 people at Intel at my work that were playing on shift and like, I'm like, hey, I know that game. Pretty funny.
Nice.
Yeah. So, couple more things, just for everyone that's here. You are eligible for the Blue Microphones giveaway we are doing tonight. Now, how we're going to do it tonight is like this. At some point during the stream, I'm going to flash up a picture of an obscure Star Wars character. Well, it's obscure to me. I assume it's going to be obscure to a lot of you. But if it isn't to you, then you have a good chance of winning this, because whoever puts the name of the character into chat first has to go into the chat first, which, you know, written log, we'll know who did it. Then I will shout them out, and they will be the winner. So all you got to do is type in who the character is into chat, and you will be a winner. So that's how that's going. And then the last thing, we've been talking a lot about Mandalorian here at the beginning, but if you have not checked out our new podcast, Chosen Ones, go do that. We've been talking a lot of Mandalorian. We keep ourselves from doing it here, specifically because we do it a lot on that show. It's all about that. So if you like that show, go check out our new podcast, Chosen Ones.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go, man.
Hey guys, what did you do in SWGOH this week?
All right. Talk about a week in SWGOH. I've been farming ARC like crazy. It's been my complete and total focus. I've been going just totally gung-ho. The 3 100s, the 2 200s, as far as the refreshes, might not be happening tomorrow because I missed arena payout. I was sleeping. Oops. But I am working on getting my ARC to gear 11. I need 14 more purple pieces, and I'll be there. And then I am at 59 out of 85. So I lack 126 more shards, and I will be completely finished.
Are you doing both 200s on him?
Yes.
I was to say.
Yeah, I am
Gotta
going
be
both
if you're
to
that
the
far
wall.
ahead of me.
So that's kind of been my primary focus, but I did take a little bit of time off and got some relic material to take up, or data signal, whatever you want to call the stuff, to take up Jolie Bendo's some. I took him to relic level 5. So I talked previously last week. I had some good calls, and I had some really terrible calls we both did about how this territory battle was going to go.
God.
We was wrong.
I've been using that famous sports, what do you call it? Phrase, cold takes. I'm calling last week's episode very cold takes. It only took a week for those not to age very well.
That aged like, I don't know.
That might be the, like, that podcast might have gone sour faster than any podcast we've ever done.
It was not good. But one of my calls was that Jolie would be a core character to take to Gear 13, and that he would be absolutely awesome in this territory battle. And I could not stand by that more than I already do. That I mean, I think he's amazing. If you're gonna take a Jedi to Gear 13, him and Grandmaster Yoda, I think, are excellent choices. And honestly, Grandmaster Yoda, he could stay Gear 12. I kind of think if you have Jolie relicked, just even relic 4, just load him up with as much health as possible. I am talking 4 health primaries, health set, can add a little bit of defense, but the big thing that you have to worry about, which we'll talk about later, is Droideka. You should be able to get him to, if you can get him to, say, 100k health, 90 to 100k, I think you'll be in a really, really good spot for keeping that team alive. Obviously, the more survivable everyone else is, that's good. But, I mean, I went 3 out of 4 phases in phase 1 using a Gear 12 Jedi Knight Revan, Gear 12 Bast Sean, Gear 12 Hermit Yoda, Relic 4 Jolie, and my Relic 6 Grandmaster Yoda. And it went extremely well. Like, the only we'll I'll talk a little bit more about strategy later, but I think Jolie is absolutely fantastic. So I've been working on taking him up, and I'm trying to figure out a few other characters to take up. I've kind of worked on. I don't think I did anything to my clones this week, but Ahsoka Tano, she's still at Relic 4. But man, outside of that, I don't think I really did much. No, I did. Or go ahead. What were you gonna ask?
No, I was just gonna mention you had him already at relic level, but General Kenobi
Yes.
is one that could be huge for this territory
Oh,
battle,
God, yes.
especially with his leadership. I've been seeing a lot of stuff around his leadership with the
Yes,
defense.
we'll talk about that
and-
later.
All right, yeah,
for
I thought we
sure.
might. I just wanted to mention it right here because I know you already have Kenobi at relic
Mm-hmm.
level, and so you're not mentioning him as one to relic up. But if anyone that does not have him, he is a very good one to relic up.
And he's great just because if you don't have Padme, he is fabulous in that Jedi Knight Revan team. You could put him in place of Bastila Shan, and I think you're in a really great spot. I think that is an optimal team, but if you have Padme, that you don't really have that option. You can't do that. But I don't think that matters too much. I think you'll still be fine. So the other thing I did was I threw a health furnace on C3PO, and I remodded him. So you remember a couple weeks ago on that Grand Arena battle where my 3PO got completely nuked, and I was kind of worried about survivability and stuff. I threw mods on him a long time ago and just kind of never went back and looked at it, and I kind of started looking at his mods, and I was like, oh, okay. His mods are awful. So I decided to remod him, and I did have potency set bonus on him, which I did away with. I went to health set bonus. I have 2 health primaries, a potency primary, health set, and a speed set on him. And I basically tried to stack up as much health as possible, and I got him to where he has basically right at 60,000 health. He was running, I think, at 38,000 before my remodding, so I added a considerable amount of health, and that's even stacked even further with Padme. So I don't think I will ever have that issue again as far as 3PO dying. I could take him to Gear 13, but I just don't see the need because he won't get attacked enough. But it's amazing how just re-looking at your mods with a new perspective on a character, knowing more about how the team works, because you may mod a team. It may be this is my arena team. This is the team I use every single day for, that I do however many battles a day, every day. And this was a core character that I've had some issues with that I just never went back and looked at after I modded him. I mean, hell, it's probably been 4 to 5 months since I even looked at the mods on 3PO.
Right.
And it completely changes the way he's able to survive. I mean, there's almost a 0% chance of somebody, like, he can't be taken out with an AoE now. There's not an AoE that any of the teams I face have that's strong enough to kill him now. And so, if had I done this before, it would have saved my ass in a grand arena, it would have saved my ass in multiple regular arena battles. It probably would have helped me a little bit in the territory battle. So that's something to think about whenever you guys are going through, especially like when this new territory battle comes up. Go back, look at your mods, especially these characters you use all the time. If you haven't revisited their mods, go back and do it again. The modding for this territory battle is far different than anything we've seen, in my opinion, which of course we'll talk about later. But I think that's my advice for the week is
Ding ding
revisit mods on some
ding.
characters.
Ding ding ding. Bring out your defense mods. Ding ding ding.
Actually, I don't agree. I think it's health mods.
Health mods with defense. I'm just saying, not defense primary, but all those mods that you had with the 5 stack of defense secondary.
Yeah, no, I think that's helpful, but I don't think it's as helpful as we're necessarily thinking it is, just because really the only thing you have to worry about in territory battle, as far as absolutely nuking you, is Deca. And if Deca goes with
that
multiple
AoE
stacks
from
of charge,
B1 is another story.
It's rough, but it's not that bad. Deca will nuke anything. I mean, I had a freaking General Kenobi with stacks of protection up. My Kenobi has 100k health, and he wiped him out. Totally.
I honestly
he hit him
cannot
for
believe that you would say
200K.
anything in that TB is not bad. But that's another story.
We'll get into this discussion later. So before we get to that, though, why don't you tell us what you did in SWGOH?
All right, so on my main account, I finally got my B1 droid to Gear 13. So I'm looking pretty good now for General Skywalker. I got one more Gear 13 I really want to do to feel completely comfortable, but that would be General Kenobi now. So I just switched over. I was going to do Ahsoka Tano next, but I think I'm going to do Kenobi after talking with you guys in the guild. Yeah, I'm switching to Kenobi, and then I'll probably still do Ahsoka, but right now I'm looking at Gear 12. Right now I have Gear 12 C-3PO, Gear 12 Kenobi, Relic 4 Padme, Relic 4 Shakti, and Gear 12 Ahsoka. So that's that team. And then on the other side I have Relic 4 Asajj, Relic 4 B2, Relic 4 B1, and then Gear 12 Droideka and IG-100. So I'm thinking I'm pretty much there for that event now. So then I can finally move on to things like Wat Tambor, who I've never touched, and ARC Trooper. So I'm pretty happy.
Very nice.
I only doing the 3 refreshes for Cantina. I'm at 56 out of 65. So after tonight, hopefully with good drops, which I have been getting pretty fairly good drops, I'd say. After tonight, I should have a 5-star ARC Trooper.
Ooh, nice.
So that's moving along. Another thing to mention, I've not been pouring a lot of time into Fleet Arena payout hour, just kind of doing my fights when I have time. But I am finishing
How you liking it?
Oh, dude. I am finishing in near the top 20, not in the top 20, but just doing 1 or 2 fights a day, finishing near the top 20 every day, and pretty much only dropping about 10 spots. So
Heck yeah.
staying up in the top 30 basically with this team, and it is amazing. And the one day I did actually fight during my payout, I didn't refresh. I probably could have got to 1, but I got my highest payout at 9, which is my highest payout ever in Fleet Arena. So pretty dang good.
Ballin'.
And not to mention, after we talked about this fleet last week, I switched up my starting lineup a bit, and now I haven't lost since then. I have literally not lost a battle since I switched my starting lineup. So now I'm running I forgot about the fact that Vulture Droid gets re-summoned when it dies if you have other units out on the field. And the problem with having Geo Soldier in the starting lineup was that they pretty much nuked Geo Soldier, and then he was gone, and I was down to 2 units to start the battle, which kind of made it iffy. But now they nuke the Vulture Droid, and he just comes right back, and I've got 3 to start the battle anyway. Yeah, so it's once I move Vulture Droid in with Hyena and Sunfuck and use Geospy as my first call-in to get that auto taunt, which usually goes on to Anakin, it's lights out every freaking time. It's awesome. I love it.
Very nice.
Not to mention in Grand Arena, you remember the first 2 weeks of Grand Arena, first 3 weeks actually, I was complaining that I was losing a lot of battles because of fleets. Mm-hmm. Well, I did not lose a single GAC this week, at least fleet-wise. So
Very
I beat
nice.
all the fleet battles first try with that team, while still being able to put a decent defense fleet in. So I am loving having Malevolence. I can tell you that much.
Well, that's good. I finally fought one for the first time this week. That was pretty interesting experience. I didn't find it terribly difficult, but it was kind of annoying that you felt like you had to keep killing the same ship over and over. But yeah, it's good to have, a few fleets that you can go with and have a good offense and a good defense. Definitely makes it much more enjoyable than whenever you feel like if you don't one-shot a team, you're just completely screwed.
Or you have to go all defense or all offense, which was the case for me for a long time. So
exactly.
alt account, just a few touch-ups on my alt account since I never really talk about it. I have been farming B1 Battle Droid, Nest, and Shakti at the same time for probably since Shakti was released.
Oof.
Yes. But this week, within 2 days, I finished Nest and B1. So it's all Shakti all the time now. I'm freaking stoked because having 3 fleet farms has been a nightmare to keep up with. So So now it's down to 1. Finished 2 really good characters. And so, yeah, pretty stoked about that. And I wanted to mention as well, I've had a lot more success with Negotiator putting that even the 5-star Anakin into my starting lineup on that account. So things are going pretty well over there now with my Negotiator and my alt account.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, that is good to hear.
Absolutely. That's what I've been doing. So let's talk about something I thought about mentioning because of some questions that were I think it was in our guild chat, but you're 126 shards, I think you said, from getting your 7-star ARC Trooper. I'm about to get my 5-star. What are we going to do with this guy modding wise? That's the question. What's the best thing we can do with this character?
I mean, you have a lot of choices. You can kind of do anything you want. However, I mean, you have a few options. Even now, if you're not finished with him, which is kind of where I'm at, I have no idea who it was, but there was somebody that did a video about, the weak ARC Trooper, and I've tested it a little bit in Arena. I actually don't even have my Padme in currently in my Arena team. I have got my Gear 11 General Anakin Skywalker with my 3 Jack clones, and then a Gear 10 ARC Trooper. And the idea being that ARC Trooper will die, and ARC Trooper dying isn't such a bad thing because he will then trigger the 5s buffing everybody, and then you get like a bunch of really cool stuff, which is fun. So making him kind of weak is actually not a terrible strategy at all, to be perfectly honest. It's even if you're not finished with him, you can use him especially if you have General Skywalker. As far as, not General Skywalker. If you have 5s, if you have the 5 Zeta, it kind of opens the door for making him a lot more viable at a lower star. But as far as other mining, as far as damage output, one thing that we did learn about from the Q&A is the little turret that he uses. That does, in fact, the stats of that are based solely on ARC Troopers' numbers. So no matter who calls it in, it is based on ARC Troopers' damage number. So whenever he gives command to, say, Rex or whoever, anytime that turret calls in, it's based on ARC, which means you're probably better off going with offense because the turret cannot critically hit. And I kind of have mixed feelings about going crazy on this just because I haven't seen great damage numbers from this turret. What are the best damage numbers that you've seen?
I mean, honestly, I haven't even seen this character in the wild yet. So I haven't seen anything.
Well, I'm not talking about necessarily in the wild, just of anyone out there as far as modding, talking about it or anything. Nothing?
No, I haven't actually. The only thing that I've really even seen put out about him since he was released was that video about the paper ARC Trooper. And so that's the only thing I've actually seen. I'm usually, it's funny because my arena shards are usually late adopters to almost everything. And somehow I'd never really fight the new characters in Grand Arena either, even in Division 1. So a lot of these things that come out, I don't even get to see them for like a month. So odds are I won't even see this character for a while. It always seems to go that way. But Because remember, you unlocked Padme and you were using her in arena for at least a month. You know, at least a month before I even saw my first one in GAC. So
yeah,
it always winds up that way for me. ARC Trooper I have not seen anywhere yet.
I've kind of talked with some people and talking about like the damage numbers and stuff. So our resident clone expert, Shinkiro, says in the live chat that his turret does 19.7 thousand damage per each hit, and those are pretty good numbers for sure. You know, if you're getting to that point, what relic level is yours? Just put it in chat so I'll know just for reference. But I've seen a lot of people kind of talking, you know, between 10 and 12, which is pretty nice. But I'm not sure how much you necessarily have to worry about that. If you're going the weak arc path, you might be better off kind of what I talked about a couple weeks ago with Echo and going with a crit damage set, you know, because you might get better benefit, you know, if Arc's turret's only doing 4,000 or something, you might be better off going with the crit damage set. That way, once he gets those buffs from 5s, he can actually do something rather than the offense set. So our guildmate's ARC Trooper is Relic 7 with 11,200 offense, and he's hitting for 19,700 damage. Yeah. So just for reference. So that's an option, but I think optimally you will go with an offense set. You could probably just go offense primaries all the way around, not even do a crit damage triangle, since you know that turret is based on his numbers. Probably not a terrible idea. At least has to see how it goes. It'll kind of affect his damage some, but not that big of a deal. He does counter and do things like that. So you have some options. You know, it's kind of the same thing with Echo. You know, if you have that 5 Zeta, that makes crit damage a lot more viable. But if you don't have that 5 Zeta, or if you're kind of at a position, because remember I talked about that, since I've heard a lot of people saying that they don't get in positions where 5s, where somebody else dies before 5s. And if you're in that situation, you definitely want to go offense set on Echo, and I would say definitely go offense set on Arc as well. Because like we've talked about, that 50% crit damage bonus, under almost any circumstance, that kind of puts you in a position. I believe I calculated. So with a crit damage triangle, 2 offense primaries, and an offense set, with that, even at 100% critting, with the bonus 50% crit damage, you will do more damage by having that offense set than crit damage set. As you start adding more secondary offense, you may get into a position where at maximum crit, you know, at 100% crit, that crit damage set is better, but that, you know, you might need that decent amount of offense to do that, and then still you're losing a lot on the low end when you don't crit. So you know, these high bonus CD teams.
Can't the turret not crit?
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So he's not going to be critting.
Correct. And that's why I was saying, you know, crit damage set on Echo, or sorry, on Arc, if you know, if he's weak, because he's not going to be getting enough damage output to really make it worth it. You know, before 5 size, your turret's just not going to do that much damage, so I don't think there's much need to worry about modding specifically.
I got thrown off thinking you were talking about critting with the turret and not Arc. So
yeah, I probably wasn't clear on that. Should have been a little bit more clear, but
all good.
Cool. All right. Well, I think it is time to go to this.
Since everyone loves a good poll, let's dance through the results and see what you thought this week.
So big shout out to Tesh, who was able to put together a really awesome poll for us. This is basically just asking about the territory battle that we just did and getting some feedback on what you guys think and all that sort of stuff. And it'll be fun to kind of we'll kind of go through this rather quickly, and then go ahead.
I want to mention something else as far as polls go. For everyone in the chat, I have a new feature that I'm starting to use. Basically, I can throw live polls into the chat now for you guys to answer as we go. So, for example,
that's cool.
I just did a Twitch poll during the What We Did This Week segment, and I asked, will you Gear 13 Jolie Bindo? And I put yes, no, and maybe. 3 of you put maybe, just like me. So look for those polls popping up in your chat and submit some answers there. That'll help us as we go. It'll be interesting just to kind of see where the chat's at on some of these topics that we're talking about. So keep an eye out for those. They pop up at the very top. They got a little timer going. So if you just click on it, you should be able to cast your vote, and then we'll be able to talk about it. I'm going to throw one up here in a second for you guys, just so you see how it works. But why don't you go into that first question there?
Alrighty, so the first question was, how many stars did your guild get before the territory battle was canceled? And the biggest batch of people was 3 to 4 stars. Those two combined for basically 60% of people, with 4-star edging it out just a little bit. There's almost 10% people that were at 5 stars. There was almost 12% people that were at 6+ stars. Only 5% were at 1 star, with another 12.5 at 2 stars. So it was definitely split around fairly evenly, actually, but kind of right there in the middle at that 3 to 4 star spot was kind of the sweet spot. I think we were at 5 or 6. I don't remember if we were at 5 or 6.
I think we were at 4. We had 4 at the end of phase 1.
Correct.
And I don't think it lasted long enough for us to get another 1 or 2 stars before the...
Oh, did we not? Okay.
Before it was abruptly pulled off of the game. So I think we were at 4. I know we got 4 in the first phase, so unless we got one more... we might have got 5 because we were pretty close to that first star in the middle. We kind of set it up that way so that on day 2 we would be able to get that 1 star in the middle and continue doing the middle in phase 1 instead of moving to phase 2. So we might have got 5, but I think I remember 4 for sure. So
yeah. Yep. Cool. What is that next question?
Next question is, do you think the difficulty is reversed? Interesting question. There's a lot of people talking about how dark side GO, you go left to right. Light side GO, you go right to left. Well, there's a lot of people that fought this battle and how freaking ridiculously tough phase 1 was, thinking that we were starting with the highest difficulty in phase 1 because they forgot to put the phase 1 difficulty flipped around like it should have been compared to the dark side territory battle. Yeah. So the answer we got, 65% of you say no, I think it's just really hard. 16.8% said absolutely, CG is just bluffing and horrible at that, because they had mentioned in the QA, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, that it's tuned to be as difficult as they want it to be. And then 15% said I'm not sure. And then you got small little chunks on the rest of them, 1 vote for each of the others, but a very large chunk of people saying no, they don't think it's reversed.
Yeah, that's the spot I'm in, that they're not going to reverse it. And I do think there's a little bit of overreaction to the difficulty.
Oh my God. And I think you're completely and utterly wrong.
I will try to convince you, and then when
convince me that somehow we all will have 12 million galactic power to finish a territory battle within the next 3 years.
That's a different story. We're talking about difficulty. We're talking about the combat missions,
which you need to beat and get the most stars out of the territory battle.
Well, yeah, but there's two different discussions to be had. There's the
Which
difficulty
all
of
join into
completing
each
the
other.
combat missions, and then like how you're gonna fill up. We'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. Let's finish through the poll. The next question was, which enemy was most irritating to you? Basically had all of them on here, but I think the only three worth mentioning, in my opinion, is B2, who was at 11%, B1, who was at almost 18%, and then a third of people said Droideka.
And I think a third of people mistook Droideka for Sniper Droid, which looks like Droideka, because Droideka isn't half as bad as the Sniper Droid to me.
They're very similar, but no, Droideka is easily the answer in my opinion.
Then you missed one, because Sniper Droid is completely and utterly annoying.
Sniper Droid, I think, is very similar to Droideka. I don't think there's much of a difference as far as how it works. There are some differences mechanically, but I mean they are basically the same. They kind of work under the same mechanics, but in my opinion, I find Droideka to be more confusing. I never had an issue with Sniper Droid, but Droideka was constantly having issues.
I see. It was always B1 with that AoE causing all the problems for me. B2 getting rid of all the buffs, super annoying. And then the Sniper Droid just taking out anyone, completely full health, full protection, one-shotting everything.
I think the poll, thinking about it now, should have been Droideka / Sniper Droid, because they, like I said, they work under the same mechanics, and it's those mechanics that are difficult. But all right, so a couple more questions here. Are you ready for General Skywalker next time? 23% of people said chumps, I already got him, ain't worried about that. And 25% of people said yes, I am beyond ready. So that's basically half the people that are, just under half, that are pretty much there. And then
it's nice to know that our podcast has a good chunk of that 6,000 people that actually unlocked GAS. That one kind of surprised me that the number was that high, but I know a lot of our listeners are very dedicated players, and like I said, I would have probably got him if I wasn't on vacation. But yeah, that's a high number for what I expected. So good job to you guys. Good job to everyone that's ready for him and everyone that's close. I mean, that's the majority chunk of that pie, knows what this character is, knows you need him for light side GOTB, and is ready to get him. So that's pretty impressive.
Yep, for sure. All right, so what is that last question?
Last question is, how far along are you in your ARC Trooper farm, which was something me and you already answered. I'm almost 5 stars. You're almost 6. So basically, highest answer, 5-star, which is about where I am. Second highest is on his way to unlock. So I'm guessing a lot of people aren't doing a lot of, you know what? And I can see this answer going up after playing the light side GOTB, but a lot of people on the way to unlock, probably a lot of people stopped doing the refreshes after seeing that, hey, getting to phase 3 and being able to beat that event in a timely manner probably isn't going to happen anytime soon. So I'll unlock him when I unlock him. And then the other 26.5% said 4-star. So unlocked, working towards that 5th star. So I fall right in between the second highest and the highest. So there it is.
Very nice. Cool. Well, that pretty much covers our poll, but we want to talk about, we'll do this.
Hey boys, do you have any tips for us less experienced players?
So I got a very big tip here.
I'm sure you do.
Very big tip.
All right, this is the part of the show where those of you that like to see me and Wink argue, it's going to happen. I already know it is.
Yes.
Because
that is definitely going to happen, because my opinion on this has shifted so much It's kind of crazy.
I have a feeling that your opinion would make more sense 5 months from now, but right at this very moment does not.
All right, well, let's do this. Why don't you give us your initial thoughts and review of round 1 of the Geonosis Lightside Territory Battle?
Complete and utter 100% disappointment. It is ridiculous that they continue to drop things into the world that no one can play or complete or even have fun playing if they can play it. It is so ridiculous to me that their content they keep dropping is crap that no one can play. Relics. How many people are actually involved with Relics from the start, out of going from new players all the way to the end? A complete content update of Relics where very little people could play it. Now you got a Lightside GOTB where people with full Relic 7 teams are getting lambasted in the first phase or even make it to 1 or 2 phases. It's the difficulty on this is just too ridiculous. It's so dumb. I can't even fathom. I worked on my clones and Shakti for 3 months leading up to this, as well as my Galactic Republic team, and they couldn't do a single damn thing. I don't know why I worked on them for that long. I was excited for this. Going into that first phase completely destroyed my excitement for this game, like almost to the point where I have never been closer to just walking away because it is so ridiculous that they continue to drop things that you cannot play or have fun playing. And I'm not in it. Go ahead. I know you got something to say.
No, I actually agree with you. I felt the exact same way. When the territory battle ended, I 100% agree with you. This is one of the first times I've really been so frustrated. I thought it was so dumb that's this difficult that, you know, you almost can't even enjoy the thing. But fortunately, I recorded battles and I was able to go back and review those.
Question, real quick. What phase did you record battles in?
I recorded battles in phase 1 and 2.
And which one did you have more luck in?
Phase 1.
I thought you said you had more luck in phase 2.
No. Somebody else did. There were multiple people in our guild that said they had better luck in phase 2.
That's across the whole game, to be honest, and that's why people think that the difficulty is reversed.
Yes, and I totally understand that theory. I do think that there could be something to it basically being tuned. It could very well be tuned the exact same across the board, but as you go, you know, there are additional buffs and stuff that the enemies get that you then have to remove with the platoons and such. I suspect that that's probably what they're doing, but I'm not for sure.
So before I continue with my rant, let me just say this. If it is reversed, then all of this becomes a lot easier to digest. If it comes back and phase 1 becomes a lot easier than it was, and we get to phase 4,
it won't.
And it's looking okay. I'm sure you're completely 100% on board with that idea, but you don't know for sure. So, okay. But if it does, then all of this...
we know what they said.
Okay. They also said that they had a beta for this. Who would have a beta for this TB? And somehow, did they only do phase 1? Because the second phase 1 ended, you notice that if you got stars in the bottom, somehow the middle unlocked. And if you got stars in the middle, somehow the bottom unlocked. So tell me, if they had a beta for this game, how did they not catch that? They say a lot of things. It doesn't mean it's true.
I don't think they expected people to use that strategy. And I think that's why it got overlooked.
It didn't matter. Even the ones that unlocked both unlocked the wrong one.
No, we're not going to sit here to have a discussion on if we agree if their quality control is up to snuff, because it is unbelievably awful. So we're not going to have that discussion because we agree it's shit.
Right, but I'm saying that's the point I'm making. They always say they do things. It doesn't mean it's true. And they always say this bug doesn't exist. Then we find out later that it did.
Well, I'm okay. I'm not dying.
Careful.
Some wine went down the wrong pipe. So,
to finish that other
I
point,
don't-
sorry. I didn't
Okay,
finish
go
that point. If it is reversed, then everything's probably fine. Because I understand that Phase 1 will probably still be way harder than Phase 4 of Darkseid, but you should not be, at the very least with relict teams, you should be able to get through one phase out of 4. The fact that people have fully... Get the hell out of here. Anyways, fully relic teams should not be going 0 for 4. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so this is my entire point. This is why I think everybody has gone too far off the end.
So I can already tell this is where you're going to tell us we all suck, and that's why it's hard for us. Because your get good comment already put me in that mindset.
Well, yeah, I'm telling you that I sucked too on the first time. That's my entire point. And I would still be in that mindset had I not actually recorded battles. You can go to our YouTube channel, go through and watch the battles. I can walk you through every single mistake that I made going back and watching it. There are multiple mistakes I made. And I think most of the mistakes I made were letting Droideka, who gets stacks of charge constantly, obviously, because it is based on when you take turns, more turns you take, the more stacks of charge he gets. Also, the more damage he does because of the difference in speed. Droideka is what ruined me in the special mission, in the combat missions, everything. It all came down to not managing Droideka. That's why I think he is the biggest problem in this territory battle. If you can focus on him, not let him use his special when he has stacks of charge, because each stack of charge does additional damage, and I think each one does like 40,000 damage. Yeah, give him 4 stacks of charge and let him hit you with that. No one's going to survive. My General Kenobi with 100,000 health that is multiplied by 1.5 with a Padme lead with stacks of protection. He wiped off the face of the earth, and that's why. I mean, because I wasn't managing his stacks. There are a lot of ways to go through and manage this a lot more. There is kind of a surge in the beginning of a lot of these battles where they open up really fast, a lot of attacks. You have to be able to get through that. I agree. I took in a resistance team that it wasn't particularly great, I'll be perfectly honest, but I never took a turn other than BB-8 doing his special once, and then it was bye-bye everybody. But our modding, the way we think about modding, needs to change for this territory battle. We focus so much on damage output, like what we were talking about earlier with ARC Trooper. We talk so much about offense sets and crit damage sets, maximizing this, and crit chance, and all of this. You look at this territory battle and the way it's set up, it is designed around 2 things. It is designed around not damage output, but it is around number of attacks. For example, B1 and B2 with their battle battalion or droid battalion, whatever the hell it's called. What is the name of that?
Battalion?
Oh, that's it. It's just battalion?
I believe so. Droid battalion?
I don't know, anyway. So it's based around battalion. You don't actually have to do that much damage to them. You can do 1 damage to them and it kills them. B2 starts with 8 stacks. So you have to hit him 8 times to kill him. That's it. Doesn't matter how much damage you do. So quit caring so much about your crit damage and your offense sets. They're not going to be that great in this territory battle. This territory battle is going to be focused a lot more on surviving and controlling the battle rather than just smashing your way through it and doing a lot of damage. It's the same thing with Droideka. Droideka isn't particularly fast. You will get multiple turns for the number of turns a Droideka gets. So you have opportunities to remove turn meter to control the way Droideka goes. For example, with the Galactic Republic team using Padme, I guess we're kind of now talking strategy and team comps and such, but the...
Well, when you're done with that,
So
I'm
it's-
still not done, so...
That's fine. So, Joker puts in the comment, when the B1s and B2s are hiding behind Magna Guard that's taunting, you need raw damage. No, you need a dispel. You got to get rid of the B1s and the B2s. So, for example, on Padme, I used R2 as my 5th rather than Ahsoka Tano. I used Padme, Jedi Anakin, 3PO, and
Wait, you just said you
John
needed a
Kenobi.
dispel.
Yeah, I know.
Ahsoka Tano's your dispel.
I know. I agree. And I'm telling you, that's where I screwed up in the special mission. That's the entire point I'm making.
Gotcha.
You got to have that with that team. You got to get rid of the taunt. You got to be able to get to Droideka. When Droideka has the damage immunity and the tenacity up, you got to get rid of that. And then you got to use Padme, who has an undispellable stun, and stun his ass so he can't nuke you with the stacks. He will use the stacks when his turn comes up, whether he moves or not. If he's stunned, they go bye-bye. It doesn't matter. So you stun him. I think a character that's going to be unbelievable in this territory battle is going to be Aayla Secura. I think I'm going to start gearing her up because she has stuns, she has counters, she does a lot of attacking. I think she is going to be a complete and total badass in this territory battle. And I kind of want to get ahead of the game on that. But with Padme, for example, stacks of courage. 5 stacks of courage, that will take out a stack of the droid battalion. So if you have 20 stacks, that will take out 4 stacks of the battalion. That is a good way to control and kind of work them down. If you're using a Padme team, B2 is the entire problem. You have to get rid of B2. Fortunately, that team has a lot of multi-attacks. You have Ahsoka getting called in all the time. You have 3PO who can call everybody. You have Padme with a mass. You have GK with a mass. Ahsoka has a multi-hit special. You can burn through those battalions pretty easily. Then all you have to do is control Droideka, because that's the primary problem. Kind of the same situation with Jedi Knight Revan. I think I'm going to go back and do a video where I kind of walk through all the mistakes that I made in the battles that I did. And kind of review those, because I think there's a lot to learn by actually watching them. So if you guys get a chance, go to our YouTube channel and watch them, thinking about kind of some of the things I'm talking about here. And I think you'll see the patterns that you kind of need to take, to kind of work your way through it. But like I said, I'm going to try to get a video done before the next territory battle. But another example is Jedi Knight Revan. Like I said, I have a Gear 12 Jedi Knight Revan, Gear 12 Bastila, Gear 12 Hermit Yoda, and I was using my Relic 6 Grandmaster Yoda, Relic 3, or maybe it was Relic 4, Jolee. And I kept losing people, but because of the way I had Jolee modded, I actually didn't even have him modded the way I do now, because after going through this territory battle, I realized the way I had Jolee modded previously with some tenacity and a lot more defense isn't as good for this territory battle, because Droideka ignores defense. So what the hell you need defense for? You don't need it. The Droideka is the big problem, but Droideka ignores defense. So I've moved more towards ignoring defense on characters like Jolee and just stacking absolute health on them. I'm going to do the same thing with like Padme and Ahsoka. I'm going to mod them entirely for health, just because it's a volume of attacks and survivability you want rather than actual damage output. But the thing is, with the Jedi Knight Revan team, you can make Jolee the core character. Get one thing I figured out: Master's training on Jolee is huge, because he gets, he does get the bonus tenacity and defense and all that stuff, which helps him have more health and more protection stacked up whenever someone like Droideka comes up. And if you can select him and give him his own protection up, I think that's a pretty good way to go. Something else to look at is Grandmaster Yoda. I can't remember who all the characters are, but the heroes. When the territory battle starts, when you click on it, it'll show you all the heroes on the right side. I think General Kenobi's one, Jedi Knight Anakin, Grandmaster Yoda. When they use an ability, they go again. So that was something I didn't really get a good hang of at first. But you can absolutely use that to your benefit. Like Grandmaster Yoda, the way his abilities work, he has one that gives him 100% turn meter. He has another one that gives him like 75% turn meter. His basic gives him 40% turn meter. But when he's double attacking, he's going constantly. So you can kind of use all those abilities to line up turn meter and take more attacks and knock out a lot of those battalion stacks and clear out a B1 and B2 rather quickly, and then use his special ability that is a turn meter reduction and a stun to help control Droideka. I really think that a lot of these teams, you have so many options for controlling. And like I said, it's a lot more about control and surviving rather than raw damage output. I really think that the way we mod really, or the way we think about modding really has to change for this territory battle. And I think that's kind of what they were trying to do by throwing us off with the way that this thing's built. Because going into it, we hadn't really seen any game mode or any character or anything that is built like this other than, B1. But still, even attacking that isn't tackling a team with B1 isn't the same as tackling this, because like I said, it's about number of attacks and getting through and then controlling the battle with dispels, stuns, and that sort of stuff.
All right, so here's where I think you're wrong. Mods are not going to make this possible. It's not going to make it easier. It might get you 2 out of 4. You are not going to go 4 out of 4 with just mods. Just from remodding. Not to mention, the first couple phases usually don't have an elite. Start getting into those 3rd and 4th phases where you're coming up against these elites with different kits that are going to be even more ridiculous and hard. Then you're going to have even more problems. So even if we figure out in phase 1 how to get to tier 3 or phase 3 of a combat mission, you're still up a giant wall that we haven't even seen yet, or most people haven't seen yet. This is the biggest problem I have with Lightside GOTB. It's the first playable content besides GAC we've had in how many months? A long ass time.
A while.
And the biggest thing that they did for the last few months was before GAC they added Gear 12.5, then they had GSC, then they added Gear 13, then they added Relics. We have not had decent content for all this time because all they've done is made our characters stronger. So we should be at the strongest we're supposed to be after spending this much time without content to make our characters stronger. So you go into a Lightside TB where your characters you've been working on for 5 months are supposed to be as strong as they can be, and you cannot get through 1 to 2 phases on a combat mission with maxed out teams. It's ridiculous. And do you know what the part that pisses me off about it is? That just means, in my opinion, that we're going to have to do something else to these characters going forward to make them even stronger, to make this Lightside TB usable to where you're going 4 out of 4 in the first phase, in a TB where in every other one it gets harder with every phase. It just means there's more crap coming to make your characters better. And I'm so tired of having to pick 5 characters on my roster to make really good, have maybe 10 that are right under them in a tier, and then the rest of the roster is almost unusable. It's so annoying that they keep moving the gear requirements or the power requirements on these characters when you know, looking at this, that there has to be something coming, whether it's a level increase, which doesn't seem like it would up the stats enough to make this better, or more relic levels. Yay, that's the brand new thing. Let's already add that in there to make this light side doable. It's so stupid to me because all I want is content. I want to play with my characters. So the first time we get that and I go to play, it's not even fun. That's the problem for me.
And I totally understand that. I didn't think it was particularly fun the first day either.
It's not going to be fun for a long-ass time.
Yes.
Banging your head against a wall, regardless if you're doing 2 out of 4 and you're doing it for 20 minutes trying to figure out the right move, is not fun. If this was what was happening in phase 3 instead of phase 4, I'm totally fine with it. But you're going into a game where you're going into a first phase where you need to ease into it at least a little bit, and you're not even eased into it.
I know. I agree. I do agree. I do wish it. I think the first phase should be easier. I'm not disagreeing there at all. We're on the same page. I think it is weird the way they ramped it up so quickly, especially given what I was talking about with the complete and total change in the way the mechanics work and the way you have to tackle it. It's totally different, mod-wise, strategy-wise. It's totally different. I agree. But I also think that by us going in and basically just getting wiped out, so most people don't record their battles. Like I said, had I not recorded mine, I wouldn't be on the page that I'm at. But by going back and watching some battles and looking for where and why things went wrong, you can pretty quickly understand and see the path. It's like looking at a roadmap. Well, if there's a road here that you're just not even paying attention to, that you didn't know was there, it kind of changes things. If you're using an outdated map, and we've been operating on an outdated map, we kind of have to we need to change the way that we're thinking about it.
I hear
we can get pissed off and be annoyed about it, but this is what we're stuck with. They're not changing the difficulty. So
I hear what you're saying, and it all makes sense. The problem is we just spent 4.5 months gearing up characters, and now you're telling me, you're basically saying to me without saying it, that there's more crap we need to do to these characters to make them viable. I want content. I want to play the game. I don't want crap that I can't play. And then I don't want crap that I can't play that basically tells me I'm going to have to spend another 2 months making these characters viable again. It's stupid. I want to play with my characters. I understand this is a game where you have characters and you need to gear them up. I don't like spending my time in this game, spending all of it gearing up characters and just hitting sim. It's annoying. It's not fun. It's why this game is so boring lately. Now, the problem is, I like what you're saying.
I don't disagree.
I totally am okay with thinking about things differently. If I were to throw different mods on a character and go 3 out of 4 in phase 1, that would make sense to me. But I'm telling you, changing your mods is not going to do anything. There is something that has to be done to make it easier. And that is where level increases, new mod types, adding new relic levels. That's where all this comes in. And I do not want that because I've been doing it for the past 4.5 months. I'm tired of that. I want content. I want to play things. I want to enjoy the game. But all I do every single frickin' day is gear up characters and hope at some point they're good enough. And I spent the last 3 months working on Clones and Galactic Republic. And guess what? Took them both into battle. Neither of them got through a damn phase. I am tired of this garbage. And something has to change with this game. That's all I'm saying. It's fun. It's fun to try to figure things out. But when you're not giving the tools to make it happen, that's annoying. And I think it's stupid. You put out a light side GOTB that no one can beat. Even whales are pissed because they put their R7 teams in and can't get through a phase. It's stupid. It's stupid.
I know. And I think this is all... I really do think most of this, not all of it, most of it is... having this is different than what we expected to get.
I was excited for this.
It's much different than what we expected.
I was excited for this.
I was too.
You wanted to talk strategy. You told me this tomorrow, and I'll tell everyone exactly what I said to you. I don't care about this. I haven't thought about it since it ended. I don't really want to talk about it because I'm so annoyed with how it turned out and how excited I was for it and what I got that I didn't even want to bother talking about it. But hey, we're a podcast about this game. We got to talk about it. So there's that. I'm done.
Holy crap. Done. You have a Relic 4-stock T? Nice.
Me? Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm telling you. I've been working on these characters to play them. It did not happen. They went 0 for 4. I'm just saying. Oof. I'm going to stop bitching. I know people don't tune into this to hear our...
I have a question.
Let's be upset, but... There you go. Don't ask me about the mods because I didn't remod them before the TB. So if you're going to say anything about that, whatever. My experience is not different than everyone else's.
No, no, I didn't remod mine. I haven't. My thoughts on this modding stuff has happened entirely since the territory battle ended, and I went back and watched the videos of the battles that I did and seeing the mistakes and how things went wrong and why they went wrong. That's... Going back and reviewing all that is how I've gotten to where I'm at. Believe me, on first playthrough and when that territory battle ended, I was pissed. It was not fun. It was awful. It kind of sucked. It was very frustrating. I went with a completely maxed Padme team, and I lost Kenobi in Wave 2. I almost made it to Wave 4. It came down to Padme and Jedi Knight Anakin versus 2 other characters, and I got smoked. But I'm gonna beat it next time. I'm pretty convinced I'm gonna beat it next time. And it'll be by going with a different modding strategy. Obviously dropping R2 and adding in Ahsoka because she's very important to that team. But
let me know when you can use them in every CM. Because that's not possible. And there's
and
5 or 6 of them in the first phase. Good luck. So I'm happy that I was able to beat phases with one team, but not the rest of them. It wasn't even possible. Like, you have to have 10 Jedi for phase 1. Good luck with that second Jedi team.
I disagree. Yeah, no. And it's almost like, so we might as well go ahead and talk about this. So the required galactic power in order to max the territory battle, for the dark side, I think it was 4.6 million. The territory battle before that, it was like 3.9, and then before that, it was like 3.2 or something like that for average galactic power. It's been increasing steadily up until this territory battle. And then this territory battle, it went from whatever it was before, 4.8 billion GP on average per person in a 50-man guild to max. Went from that all the way up to like 11.2 million galactic power per person. And that is a lot of shit you gotta deploy because these CMs aren't worth that many points. I do think that there is a chance that they don't have the right numbers in for some of the combat missions on points that you get, because I would be shocked if they expected people to get to that amount of galactic power. That seems crazy. It seems
the highest galactic power player in this game with everything.
Like 7?
He doesn't have everything maxed out, but everything is at least Relic 2 or higher. 7 million. To max out this, your average guild galactic power for every person, all 50, has to be 12 million. There's only one thing that this can mean to me, and I'm with you on this part at least. There's only one thing this could mean to me. This is the last territory battle we're ever going to get. And this is meant to be the end-all be-all.
100%.
Now,
yes.
If that's the case, and it's meant to be this hard, and it's meant to only be beaten to the highest level 2 years from now because it's the last TB, then I should be able to pick Darkside GOTB when this one is available as well. Because I shouldn't have to bang my head against this for 2.5 years and be happy with that. That's fair. I don't particularly disagree with that. I mean, I'm kind of on board there. I do think it's silly they force you to alternate, especially when they've decided to not double the character rewards. The character shards. Yeah.
Even if they
good decision, CG. Appreciate that.
Okay. Even if they wanted to only let you do the light side every other attempt, give us the option to do the dark side every attempt. To me, that would make sense with the difficulty they've gone here, because if alternating dark to light whenever they've stair-stepped it, the easiest territory battle is the light side Hoth, then dark side Hoth, then dark side Geo, then light side Geo. If having to choose between the hardest thing in the game and the easiest thing in the game is kind of silly whenever, like you said, people are getting smashed and people hate the thing and they're not changing the difficulty. Again, I'm on a limb, on an island, on my theory on how difficult this is. I do think this will end up being much easier than we are currently thinking it is, by a huge stretch. But there's no way this isn't the last territory battle. And I also don't think that there's any way that there's not something coming to drastically change the way galactic power is calculated, we haven't talked about this yet, but I'm just going to mention it super quick. And the Galactic Legends thing that they just mentioned in the Journey Guide, this is something that we don't really know much about yet that they mentioned. There could be something to there being like some GP bonuses, or there could be something different coming where you get drastic changes. They've also mentioned adding more mastery stats. And of course, mastery stats is basically just like another relic level in the way. Not exactly, but it kind of seems like what they wanted to do. I'm going to put my CG hat on for a second. So hang with me. Hang with me. If I'm CG, just looking at what we've seen, what they are doing is building a base for the characters. And one thing that we've thought is kind of stupid the way it's always been is that like mod bonuses and these stat increases percentage wise and things only goes on your last completed gear level. So they wanted to get all these characters finished with gear so that percentage stats matter. That way all of that stuff scales. And now then you get into the relics and you're increasing those to increase all those base stats. So now we're at a point where characters are at base stat level increases. So this makes modding a lot easier to talk about, a lot easier to think about, makes all these percentage stats more useful. Now that we've gotten all these characters to this level field where it's not stupid the way it was before, they're moving towards content. They're talking about raids, solo, and guild, and just various content for next year. And if my plan is to be done with territory battles and bring out a territory battle that is the end territory battle for this game, and then move on to building other new content, that is what I would do before that. I would build that base for the characters to make it to where they can be pretty much easily kind of topped out and then just adjusted a little bit from there. And it kind of seems like that's what they've done. I think it actually makes quite a bit of sense the way they've kind of gone through all of this. We'll see how it actually gets handled because who the hell knows. But I do actually think that makes a lot of sense.
Well, we're going to see. But even if they do change the way galactic power works, there's going to be some coming with that. I don't trust that it would just go up. It would be something that you have to do to make it go up, and I'm not interested in that. I've been doing that for 4.5 months. I don't want to do anything else to my characters. I want to start moving my roster up to the top ends of gear where they belong, and not have the goalpost moved this close to when they said it wasn't going to be moved again.
I have a theory. I think they're going to come out with a raid, and the rewards for the raid will be a currency or gear or data signal or something along those lines that increases mastery stats. So it'll be like a currency to increase mastery stats on characters. My bet is that's what they're going to do. But we will certainly see. So like I said, this territory battle, I really think that it's not going to be as bad as people think. I think it will be a lot more manageable than we are currently thinking. I think some of the things that I thought initially are dead wrong. I think some of the things I thought initially are very, very solid and have good bases and will be very useful. It's certainly different. There's no doubt about that. Like I said, just the fact that there's so many characters that have that droid battalion, the way you take them down is just so much different, and I kind of think we just need to. It's easy to be upset. I totally agree, but we all need to.
Well, here's the thing.
Start from a fresh spot.
It's easy, and it's not without merit. So don't dismiss it, because there is plenty of reason for it.
No, that's totally fair. And granted, they did tell us that this thing was tuned for characters with relics. They did say that.
We didn't mention it was Relic 14, double what you have now. Have fun with the new content.
I think we're going to be surprised once we figure out some team comps and kind of how to get through this.
Progressively
to me, the
harder.
question isn't
TBs
the combat
progressively
missions.
harder. So if we somehow get to the point where we're 4 out of 4 in phase 1, that does not equal 4 out of 4 in phase 3. And right now, the difference between where we're at and 4 out of 4 in even phase 2 is way too high. If it's increasingly harder.
We also haven't got to the end to see what it's like. They may have just tuned this difficulty straight across, and then as you go across, you get things like the addition, the B2, or the things that the platoons remove, because these platoons work reverse of the other territory battle, basically, where they give you things, these ones remove things. So it's kind of the same thing. I kind of think that'll be the thing that helps progressively get more difficult. I'll be curious to see if the tuning of the base characters that we see actually gets that much more difficult. It probably will some, but I doubt it gets a ton more difficult. Of course, like you said, we'll see more elites and those type of characters that you kind of have to learn how to manage. But
I think
I'm sure once you get to phase 4, it's gonna be a bitch. I mean, I expect that, but like I said, I think the first 3 phases of this are gonna be far more manageable than anyone's thinking, and I don't know how long it'll be before we get to the 4th phase, because the way it's set up and the amount of galactic power it takes to get stars in the 4th phase, most guilds aren't gonna be, even the top guilds are going to be better off doing phase 3 twice rather than going to phase 4. So that's, to me, that's the biggest question on how that's going to be handled.
One question for you, and then my last point before we move on. You're saying you think they're going to find a way to get where the first 3 phases aren't that bad. You think that what we have in the game right now, we're going to be able to get there?
Redefine your question. Like what?
No
what
level increase, no different types of mods, no relic increases. You think what we have currently is good enough to get decent returns in phase 3?
Are you talking about beating combat missions or getting stars? Because those are 2 completely different questions.
Combat missions
with what we've seen.
Okay, here's the thing.
Okay.
What I was excited about in this, was playing the game. Deploying is not playing the game to me, because I'm hitting a button which is just as easy as simming battles all day long. It's not playing. I'm talking about combat missions. What we have in the game, you think we're going to be doing 4 out of 4 in phase 3?
Well, okay. Because when you're talking about beating phase 3, I just want to make sure that you're talking about combat missions and not beating it as in getting 3 stars.
I'm talking about doing well in combat missions.
Yeah, I think phase 1 through 3, I think we have enough.
Oh my God. You are the eternal optimist, my friend. There is no way.
We'll see. We haven't got to phase 3, but I've done phase 1 and 2, and I am
got your floor wiped.
I am
Relic 7 Relic 7 Galactic Republic team wiped. What are we gonna do that's better than that with teams that aren't even that, like the throwaway teams from the other one?
And modding them the way they need to be modded.
Nope, not gonna happen. Good luck with that idea, but it's not gonna happen. Not happening.
Okay. All right.
And the final thought I have was the biggest problem I have with light side.
No. I want to make a wager. Do we want to make a wager?
I mean, easy money. So go ahead.
Okay. What do you think's fair for? Okay, so based on what we've seen,
3 times however many combat missions there are in phase 3. You get that many combat missions finished, then I'll believe you. Unless they change something.
Let's talk waves. As of when the territory battle ended, I had completed the most waves of anyone in our guild. I was at 8 waves. There were a couple people at 7. Another group of people at 6 waves. That's waves. I don't know if waves and special mission count. Yeah, I bet they do.
They don't count on your combat mission waves completed.
They don't?
Let me look. I'm gonna look
Okay,
it up, and I'll tell you how many in phase 3. If you get that, then I'll believe you. If you go 3
So
out of 3 in every combat mission in phase 3, that is. Let's see.
So,
9,
Joe,
12. You can get 12 waves completed in phase 3 with what we have right now, then I'll believe you.
okay. By in phase 3, you don't mean on day 3, but you mean in the actual
I
phase
mean
3,
in
'cause I don't
phase
know
3. Because you said phases 1 through 3.
Okay, but here's the problem, though. Based on our guild strategy, what we're going to do next time is we're going to get
There's
2
a
stars out of
reason
6.
for that. You know why? Because what we need to get to the 3rd phase isn't in the game.
But no,
So we can't even make the wager because we'll never get there.
No, hold on. This is why I was very clear. This is why I asked, are you talking about getting stars or beating combat missions? You said combat missions. Now, granted,
In
that's why I'm
phase
saying getting to the combat missions is a bit of a question. It's going to depend on your guild. However, I also don't think that I still don't think those combat missions are that out of reach. But the question is, are we going to get there? I don't want to make a wager based strictly on phase 3 combat missions when I don't know that our guild is going to get to phase 3 for the combat missions.
And how ridiculous does that sound? I don't know if we're going to get to phase 3.
I don't.
That is
I don't
so
disagree with you,
ridiculous.
But that's not combat. That's not combat mission based.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. It just furthers my point that this thing is stupid. If you can't, you gotta. We're going all the way to the end and getting 28 out of 33 stars in Dark Side to GOTB. But we don't even know if we're going to make it to phase 3 in Light Side GOTB. That's how ridiculous it is. I will gladly make a bet when we know where we're going to get. How's that?
Okay.
But I guarantee by the time we know where we're going to get, something will have changed.
Okay. I will say this. I think on... I bet within the first 2 phases, so say the first 2 resets of characters, however you want to look at it, it's called phases in Territory Battle, so I'll just say phases. I'm not talking about the slices on the map, but phases, because there are 4 phases of the thing. Within the first 2 phases, I think at least twice, I can go 4 for 4. I think I can do it with my Jedi Knight Revan team, and I can do it with my Padme team. In phase 1.
I'm not making that bet if you're going to use your relicked out Galactic Republic team twice. It makes no sense. Because, yeah, sure, they could probably beat it. But other than that, what else is there?
My Jedi Knight Revan team. So I beat 3 out of 4 phases.
I think we need to move on from this. We've spent like 30, 40 minutes on this.
Okay.
But I think we'll revisit a bet at a later date.
Okay.
But right now, I think that people are probably tired of hearing about this.
Okay. We will see how it goes. Like I said, I will do a video over at least a Padme Galactic Republic and a Jedi Knight Revan team walking through what I did previously and the mistakes that I made and how for you to avoid those same mistakes. I'll try to get that done next week. That way you guys can check that out for us next Territory Battle starts, whenever in the hell that starts. But I'm pretty optimistic.
Pretty funny, too, that they canceled it in the middle of phase 2 and have not said a damn word about anything with it.
Like we said, man, quality control, it's not there.
When is it coming back? We don't know because, hey, they stopped it in the middle of the first one and still haven't said a word about it.
It's freaking baffling. It truly is. I don't know. As far as that goes, I don't have the foggiest freaking clue. I don't know. I mean...
Oh my god. It's so painful to think about and talk about. So the last point I wanted to make was this. I've been excited about this for the last 3 months. I've been working towards it for the last 3 months, and the reason I'm so mad is because I was completely and utterly deflated of all excitement for this game on the first phase.
Totally understand.
There hasn't
I
been
know.
content for ages. GAC has been great, but the rewards are shit, so playing it is like, it's all for the fun. That's fine, but I'm not losing sleep over it when I work at night. You know, this was the content that was supposed to come to be the big thing for me to play that was new. And playing it completely deflated me. So I am mad because I don't know when the next thing comes. I don't know what the next thing is, but playing it makes me think the next thing isn't a playable thing. So that's my problem.
I'm
I know,
with
and
you
look,
there.
listen. You know that I'm not mad at you, and I know you. It's just, it's.
We have fun with these debates.
Oh yeah, always. How you feeling over there? I mean, I think I drank 2 beers during that segment, so I'm doing good now.
I'm half a bottle. Well, no, probably 3/4 of a bottle in.
All right, so the rest of the show's gonna be
I'm-
fun.
I'm
if
in
you
a good spot.
So
Let's
those of
keep
you that
going.
were not in chat, Recoil, a Patreon of the show, picked out the picture. So you did not see it, but if you did not know, obviously you don't know if you're listening to the podcast, I posted a picture
Very
of
nice.
Sidon Ithano. He is the red
Woo!
masked, red armored guy that was in Maz Kanata's cantina that Finn was going to leave the Resistance with on his ship before he turned around. And so that's Sidon Ithano. And it's pretty cool. He's got this really weird, like, thinned out looking mask. Very, very shark looking, as people have pointed out in chat. But if you did not know, very cool thought about this guy is he was the same species as General Grievous was before he turned more droid than his species. So that's why his helmet looks very similar to how General Grievous looks. Very cool character. I wish they expanded on him more. I would really love for him to magically show up in Mandalorian, because that would be cool. But I'm pretty much at the point where anything showing up in Mandalorian would make me happy. So really hope we see that guy again somewhere, but who knows. So why don't we talk about these updates real quick? You kind of glanced over it, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I just want to mention a big change that they announced today. There is now a tier.
Hold on.
Strong with us, this update is Young Padawans.
One thing I want to mention real quick. Those of you listening to the podcast, I don't know if you're aware, but part of what these sounders do is not only tell you what we're about to talk about, but if you're listening on a podcast app that has chapters, every one of those sounders is an individual chapter so that you can go and listen by topic. So if you want to go back and find a topic, it's nice and easy to do. The podcast is done like that every week. So if you're unfamiliar, now you know. But yeah, so always got to make sure to play the sounders.
I got you. I mean, I didn't think we'd spend more than 3 or 4 minutes on this. That's why I didn't allow it, but who could not enjoy those sounders? That's all I'm saying. You put a lot of work into them, and I love every one of them. So,
yep. I need to make a couple more, but
we need a developer QA sounder. We need a Wink Tries sounder. We got a lot. We got a lot of things we need.
Yeah.
One day we'll update. But I just want to talk about this. So first off, we're not going to talk about this week. We're going to talk about it next week. They released 2 kits today: General Hux and the new Sith Trooper.
Crazy. That Sith Trooper Kit is badass.
I would just like to point out, General Hux looks like he's going to be great for the First Order. Sith Trooper looks like he's going to be great for even the First Order or Sith. Yeah. Like, he looks real good for anything. So we'll talk about those.
Both look really good, but Sith Trooper, whew.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going over those next week. We'll save those kits for next week, just in case, suddenly everything goes quiet, which seemingly happens. But I want to mention this journey guide, right? So let me bring it up on the stream so everyone can see what I'm talking about. Galactic Legends. So they revealed some of the reasons why they're excited about the Journey Guide and the future of events last week. There's one more thing they wanted to reveal before the Journey Guide is released into the Cantina. The Journey Guide is going to introduce the newest type of character to the holotables, which is Galactic Legends. The Galactic Legend designation will be reserved for some of the most famous and powerful characters in the galaxy, and the Journey Guide will be your path to unlocking them. So if we do ever see Jedi Luke, I assume he'll be a Galactic Legend. We would have thought epic confrontation at this point, but now we keep moving even further into the future. Now you got these Galactic Legends. It says that they'll be unlocked through the Journey Guide. That will be your path to unlocking them.
That's interesting.
They also say we'll be sharing more about what makes a Galactic Legend special and how to unlock them down the road. But for now, I have the honor of revealing the first 2 Galactic Legends. And they got a picture here. You can see it on the stream. Rey and Kylo Ren. Now, he also goes on to say, to avoid plot spoilers, these aren't the final in-game names. So we know that the Galactic Legends are going to be a version of Rey and a version of Kylo Ren. What versions that are, we don't know, because it would be spoilers and that would get them in massive trouble, probably lose the IP. So they're just telling us it's Rey and Kylo. Eventually we find out what the names of these characters are. But very, very interesting here. Big thing from here is the Journey Guide will be your path to unlocking them. Now, they've mentioned that with legendary characters, the Journey Guide is going to help you or guide you on the path to unlocking legendary characters. Well, we all know in the past with legendary characters, it took 5-star characters and higher to unlock at 5 stars, then the 6 and the 7. Or with Journey characters, specific characters. So this could mean nothing or it could mean something. It could just mean that through the Journey Guide, you'll know where your characters are at to unlock these 2 characters. But I want to throw out an alternate theory that I really wish was true. I wish that this was different than the other characters and that this was done through a series of quests in the game and finishing feats in the game requiring different characters to do different things in raids, in GAC, in territory wars, in territory battles, all those things
they actually had that.
Them. Yeah.
They had that when the game came out, and it was Darth freaking Vader.
Yeah.
That was
that
how
is
you
exactly
got Darth
what
Vader,
I
was
want
beating
this
all
to be.
those. I want that again. Because it was so exciting getting those next 5 shards of Darth Vader whenever you beat, your 100th Galactic War or whatever. I thought that shit was so awesome.
Right?
That would be so cool.
Like, Darth Vader was always, before he got put, he was added to the Fleet Store at one point, I think. That's where you can get Darth Vader shards besides, it's been so long since I 7-starred him. I think he was added to the Fleet Store, and that was the first place you could get him outside of, if I'm wrong, someone tell me in chat. It's been so long since I 7-starred him, but achievements were the only way to get Darth Vader, and then they added another way. I wish and I hope that this with these characters is something similar where you pick one to do first, you work on certain quest items or different quests and stuff using certain characters to beat certain things to unlock that character. And then once you unlock the first one, you can switch over to the other one. Or you can do it in the middle and lose all your progress, whatever. That's fine too. But I think it would be really cool if this was different. If it's just another really gear cool. These characters and unlock these characters thing, okay, well, that makes sense. It's what we're all expecting. But if it were different, like you said, with Darth Vader, would be cool, and that is what I would like.
I don't expect this would ever happen, but I think it would be so awesome. Okay, imagine this. You have these Galactic Legends versions of characters, and once you get them, you have to have like all the previous versions of them, because I assume most of these are probably going to be ones that we have multiple versions of. I mean, my God, Han, Luke, Rey, Kylo, all the Yoda, Kenobi, blah, blah, blah. If they had a Galactic Legend version of these characters, that's like their final version, like their peak character, But also unlocking that gave, say, like a 20% stat boost to their other versions.
Mm-hmm.
That would be an interesting way to both introduce new characters, to increase galactic power across guilds, and also, put some incentive in towards, completing like feats and that sort of stuff if they went that route. I would like to see like some sort of unlockable something, like, say, if you have all the versions of Rey and then you get Galactic Rey, you get a 20-point boost on your mastery stats across all of your Reys once they hit gear 13 or something like that. That would be super neat.
I'd totally be on board with that. They'd have to find a way to work that in with other characters, but, well, maybe not. But it wouldn't increase the galactic power enough to get you to that 12. So you'd have to have different ways to do that. But I'm with you on that for sure. That would be very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there was just a quick thing I wanted to talk about, obviously, because it came out today. It's interesting and new, and I wanted to put out my idea, the first idea I had when I saw it, because if it's going through the journey guide to unlock
2 weeks away from the movie.
Well, it's funny. Someone said in chat, Jingals20 says, is it also possible that they are easier to get than Epic Confrontation? Maybe this is a way for newbies joining because of the movie to jump ahead. I mean,
that would be interesting.
Honestly, with introduction of the journey guide, this hyperdrive pack, whenever they drop, they said it was the next update, which I would think the next update's going to be next week for these first order characters they announced. But adding those two things and then having these characters drop right into that journey guide whenever they do might be a lot of the new stuff that they need for new players to keep them, get them engaged, and add the next generation, I guess. I mean, it hasn't been 10 years or whatever a generation is, but this might be the way that they pull those players and keep them in from the start, right? Because before now, it's always been it's been very daunting. Unless you're looking things up, you don't know what you're supposed to do. You don't know where to go or what the best way to do things is. So now you got this journey guide to kind of guide you on what's the best thing to do right now. You've got a pack that you can buy if you want to hyperdrive yourself. I mean, there's a lot of things going on for new players right now that wouldn't even surprise me.
Yep, that's totally fair. I agree.
All right, so
agree.
I got a post here. I really don't want to spend a lot of time on this because the podcast's kind of going long. There wasn't a huge amount of exciting stuff said on the QA, but I've got a post here from Sir Duber is his name.
Future
on
Man.
Reddit. His little nickname there's Future Man, Sir Duber, but he made a really cool QA review post, and I want to go over some of the stuff in this.
It's fabulous.
Yes, absolutely. So they said in the QA that there are less than 10 new tunes/ships for episode 9 being released. So think if episode 9 and new trilogy stuff is lasting to the spring, less than 10 characters are going to be released over that time. So do an average of that in the next 3 or 4 months, and that's how long it's going to be between character releases, probably. Unless they do it all up front and don't do it at the end. But why would it last till spring if you've done it all in the winter or the beginning of winter? They also said there are 2 more capital ships coming next year. They didn't say which, but if our focus is on the new trilogy in the next up until the spring, there's a good chance you're going to get a First Order and a Resistance ship. Now, General Hux just was introduced. I would assume he would be the capital ship leader for First Order. Would they make Holdo the capital ship leader for the Resistance?
I would think
if
they would
not,
make
who
Hux.
else? Well, I mean,
for
the Resistance. Because I assume Hux is the
Unless
one
they're
for
in-
First Order if they do it.
Unless they introduce a new character, yeah, I mean, it'd have to be Holdo.
Yeah, it would make the most sense. Unless they introduced old woman Leia. Or, older Leia. Older
Yeah.
Princess Leia. Queen Leia? She was never a queen. But yeah. This is the part that makes me laugh. Based on the conversation we had. No expansion of relics, levels, etc. planned for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay, CG.
Yeah, and they said next 3 months, so expect something, just as we get into March. So
Darth Revan, another interesting one with the journey. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say the relics, levels, etc. They will probably do something eventually. They might add like some sort of other relic thing, to boost stats or something. But I really think that the next thing that they'll be doing is something that adds just the mastery stat, ways to add that. Because, I mean, that's pretty big stuff for most characters. And I think whatever we see next will be a mastery stat increase, and that's pretty much it.
So, what I was saying, and the interesting thing about this journey guide is they said that once a legendary character has been out for a year, they'll be at, well, Darth Revan isn't a legendary character. I would think the same would apply to journey characters as legendary characters, but they said with the journey guide that a legendary would have to be out for a year to go to available all the time in the journey guide. But with when the journey guide drops, Darth Revan will be included in the journey guide, which makes me believe that so will Jedi Knight Revan. And that would leave out only Darth Malak, right? Darth Malak and General Anakin Skywalker.
Which haven't been out a year. Darth Revan hasn't even been out a year either, but it sounds like they'll be putting him in a little bit early.
Yeah, that's why it was
people
surprising.
Start working towards Malak.
So,
yeah. And that's probably why they clarified it. And by them clarifying that, I assume means that those type of characters will also be in that journey guide. Who knows on Malak and Skywalker.
Yeah, that's a good point because they're the two newest and they're both epic confrontations, and they haven't mentioned epic confrontations, so.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, Drew Nut says Padme, so it'd mean like probably March or April before Padme gets thrown in there.
Yeah, she was after Darth Revan. You're right. Interesting.
She
yeah,
was.
good call. I didn't even think about that. General stuff. Gear inventory is on the radar. Thank you. This will do two things, I think. A, it would be easier to find the gear you want to farm without having to find it on a character. And second, has to do with relics. Oh yeah, like if you
crafting the pieces that give you really, really good value back on the material to increase your relic levels.
Exactly. So if I go into my gear inventory and find that Mark III BAW mod, I can just make a bunch of them in the gear inventory. I don't have to have a character that has that available to be able to do it. So that would be perfect. Two reasons gear inventory on their radar is a really good thing. They also mentioned that Echo's Basic Omega is an artifact from a previous kit.
Finally mentioning that.
If you don't remember Echo's kit, it mentions crit damage up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nobody, not even General Anakin Skywalker does crit damage up. ARC Trooper doesn't do it, so it's an artifact that they're looking into changing later because
apparently
it really does
was a
nothing.
little too OP with the crit damage up stuff, which I can totally see. I mean, they've already got plus 50% CD. Like, yeah, you start giving him crit damage up, and woo!
Was it, or was it making territory battles easier? And they were like, nope, 0 for 4 for you.
Dude, let me say this. This was a team I didn't talk about. The mission that requires, was it Shakti and clones or something along those lines? Maybe it's Galactic Republic. No, it might be Galactic. I don't know what it was. But it was the phase 2 in the middle and I mean slice 2 in the middle. But the only options that I had was my Shock T, Echo, Fives, Rex, and R2. So I had to take R2 in, which is why I'm excited to get another clone so I don't have to take R2 in. But in that mission, I just kept spamming Fives' basic ability because every time he does it, he calls in Echo. I just freaking coasted through wave 1 and got to wave 2 and then kind of got smashed. But look, like I was actually kind of surprised that that worked as well as it does. Because Rex double taps and then calls in Echo. Man, you can burn through some droids like that. It's pretty cool.
Love that clone team. Absolutely.
It's pretty.
Do you have this Reddit post open right now?
Yes, I do.
All right, why don't you cover some more of these general stuffs?
Alrighty, I will. They said the in-game comms will be upgraded soon. The neutral tag, basically no news there. They've got some changes planned for Grand Arena for a more engaging experience. That's pretty interesting. They mentioned mini raids maybe next year. I think that's the big thing that they were talking about as far as, something that can be solo mode, but they said solo / guild kind of type thing. So it might be something you can do anytime you want, but then you're ranked among your guild for rewards or something like that. That would be really cool if current raids were done like that. You had a phase each day. You could do it whenever you wanted to do it and all that sort of stuff. That'd be cool. If you direct quote, if you look at the Star Wars stuff that's known for about the next year, you'll get an idea of some of the things we're thinking about. So that's like the General Kenobi series, and actually I believe the Cassian series is over the next year. The Mandalorian, although we haven't heard anything as far as season 2, which I assume it will be renewed for another one. I don't know why it wouldn't be. But so we might be getting another season of that. They said that we're not going to see anything from that for a while. They're not going to be doubling the watt or cam shards for the split TB, unfortunately, which I just think is freaking stupid. That's how they started doing it. They got rid of it because they let you start selecting, and now they take away selecting, don't give us back the doubles. It's like this still keeps getting worse all the time, unfortunately. No new relic farming locations. They will be removing non-5 mods from the mod store, which is pretty exciting. They are also increasing the championship token rewards from Grand Arena, and that's going to be effective next Grand Arena, apparently. This is huge because that is the biggest spot where they're trying to make the rewards from GAC equal what they used to be, because they used to be amazing. Now they kind of suck, and that's mainly because the compensation on the tokens it's kind of shit. So if they up those rewards, that would be absolutely fantastic. Chicken Bottom says that Mando season 2 has already been official. Cool.
Yeah, it was already resigned. Super stoked.
I didn't know that. Hell yeah.
Was there any doubt, though?
I feel like I should know that since we have a podcast called Chosen Ones on all of your podcast apps that you can, of course, find. And hopefully you'll leave us a review. We would really appreciate it. But, leaving reviews and stuff, that helps people find it easier. But considering I do that, I should have already known that. There are more plans to ease the gear crunch. But then they listed a bunch of them been done, which is them saying,
we got to go back to this question so I can read the answer, because honestly, it was so out of touch, it was ridiculous. All right.
Which one? Oh,
Okay, here you go.
Yeah,
here's the question.
Okay. Well,
at one of the recent,
that was bad.
I got the Control F, man. Find. I knew the word I was looking for. There it is. All right. So the question was, at one of the recent QAs, you mentioned a plan to ease up the gear crunch. Was that forgotten or being planned? CG Cyanide says, no, I haven't forgotten, and we are planning more. We added Kairos to daily activities, completion, and TW rewards. Reduced the crystal and shard shop cost of Gear 12 and added Gear 12 Plus to the shard shop. Reduced the energy cost of ship energy, increased the refresh rate of ship energy, and added Gear 12 Plus to ship nodes. All very great things for characters that are
100%.
already maxed out. But this is where the question gets ridiculous. Actually, my question is back. Define easing. I hear easing a lot, but it's very subjective. Mathematically, we have eased the gear grind, but that doesn't mean that players actually feel the easing. This isn't being snarky. I'm genuinely interested in what everyone's definition of easing is to see if I can somehow help that feeling. Here's how you can help that feeling.
Okay.
Give me more. Why is every character I start gearing up? Now, I will say this. They have eased a lot of gear. They need to ease stun guns. Because of all the gear on the lower levels when you're gearing up a character, stun guns are impossible. I get stuck on every character with stun guns. I get stuck on every character with droid collars. I get stuck on every character with black basketballs. There are still gear out there that we are not getting that we need on almost every single character. So if you need me to define easing to you, look at the gear that is on every single character and look at how much you're giving out. Because stun guns, I'm always stuck farming them at gear 7. I'm always stuck farming them at gear 8. I'm always stuck farming them at gear 9. Sure, once I get to gear 11 and 12, it's a little bit easier, which is very nice. But I spend a week getting there. Yes, at this point, there's a
gear 12 plus piece that requires freaking stun guns. So even stun guns,
exactly.
just because you have it, my Ayla Secure is at gear 10. I want to take her up to gear 11 and gear 12 and gear 13. She's one of those characters that I am dead set on doing, but she needs freaking stun gun. What the hell am I supposed to do? Well, if I want to take someone to gear 13, it's very frustrating. Leaving the basketballs the way they are is fine. Leaving the holo projectors the way they are, even though I have hell with holo projectors, is fine. Mainly because I convert them all for relic material.
And basketballs are decent because they have a decent drop. Excuse me. In my opinion, they have a decent drop rate and they're cheap. In a couple of days working your arenas, you should be able to.
Or holo projectors. Yeah. You should never farm either of those. You should always buy them from the store because they are stupid cheap from the store.
Assuming you are doing well in arena.
No, it does not matter.
You're not getting that many shards. You're not getting that many crystals if you're not doing well in arena.
If you are doing a 50 crystal refresh to get basketballs or holo projectors, you are pissing away crystals. I don't give a damn where you finish in arena. There is zero arguing that. It is absolutely a waste. You should wait, save them up, and then just buy them from the store because it's like half the freaking price.
Is it okay for me to say "okay, boomer" to you, even though you're not a baby boomer, but you're from Oklahoma?
Okay. Okay. So.
Okay, boomer.
I told you about this. I didn't tell everyone. So I didn't even know that was like a big thing.
God,
honest to God thought that was an Oklahoma thing because like boomer sooner. It's like Oklahoma history with the land run and such.
Do you have any tips for us?
I'm waving my arms around and she's talking to me. Oh Lord. But no, I thought that was like an Oklahoma reference, and then I found out I guess it's talking about boomers, like
Baby
the
boomers.
generation. But yeah.
Anyways, stun guns, more of them, please. And as Chicken Bottom said, just update challenges, put them in there. If they were in challenges, it would be so much better. So much better. All right. What else we got here?
So no plans to add any ships or tunes in the championship store. Holy shit! Thank God. It says no plans. Not that they won't do it.
Doesn't mean they won't. But it would take
I spend everything on
ever to get anything out of the shard shop. And then
they will put something there one day, and I will hate myself for buying all the Kairos that I do, but oh well.
That's GAC currency is literally Cairo currency. That's all it is for me.
Yeah. So they have no specific First Order reworks planned. The goal for the arcade/mythic raids is more of a solo/guild content more quickly. That's what I was talking about earlier. That's the thing that I think could really be awesome, because the worst thing about raids, as fun as raids are, like we were just talking about this a week or two ago. You love raids, but we don't raid when you get time to do it generally. So like you just 2 weeks ago figured out how to do the the phase 3 solo team. So like it sucks for people like you that can't raid when they're guild raids, and you're the guild leader. It's ironic.
I was about to say,
but
especially when you're the guild leader and set the guild times. It's a good thing I'm a nice guy, or we'd be raiding at 9 p.m. every night.
I'd be okay with it. It would be great if you could go in, do the raid when you want to, but that's just not the way it is, unfortunately. At least once you're beating it consistently. Maybe Mandalorian stuff next year.
This is hilarious to me. TB was a trade-off for not having mythics for the most recent legendaries. Thanks. Appreciate that. I'm glad I can play that light side TB instead of new mythics.
Oh, we're not gonna bring that debate back up.
Yeah,
oh, here's one thing that pisses me off. 5 still has to be in the 5th spot for his thing to work. I had totally forgotten about that. I've been using 5s not in the 5th slot.
Neither
so
have I.
went back.
Big freaking surprise. It's been out how long and it's not fixed?
Just so stupid. Like put a tag in game. Put something in his kit that says, if you want this Zeta to work, put him in the 5th slot.
Like literally, no one knows unless they read the notes. The long ass QA that I haven't even bothered reading. I used, what's this guy's name again?
So dumb.
Sir Duber's his review. That's what I read, because those things are so long, convoluted with no answers. I don't know. Quality of life.
So
let's just shoot through
more
this.
stuff in March. Hat Sim soon. No plans for Sith Sim. No intentions for Zeta refunds. Lots of GAC quality of life plan. Enhanced modding searches in the plans. Fleet management ASAP. Thank God, we desperately need that. Stacking buffs more visible. They've been talking about that for a while. This is the thing that irks me. No plans for being able to leave and rejoin GAC during sign up. That is so stupid since the shit locks when you join. Why is it possible? No. I'm gonna rant. If you're not going to take the time to fix the shit to where it locks at a specific time, take the damn time to make it to where we can leave and rejoin. You have the shit in territory war. You can leave and rejoin the bastard. Put it in the freaking Grand Arena. Okay, I'm done.
I agree. I am completely on board with that. If you can do it in Territory Wars, you can do it in Grand Arena. And if you're not going to make it work that way, you shouldn't have changed it. So, I wanted to mention in chat, looks like Drew already mentioned it as well, but for everyone that did not know what the bug with 5s was, his Zeta does not work unless you have him in the 5th slot on your team. If he's in slots 2 through 4, that Zeta won't work. You have to have him in the 5th slot or the Zeta is worthless. And it's a bug that's been there since the Zeta was introduced. And it's kind of sad that a lot of you probably had it and didn't even know that and have probably been using it wrong and wondering why this doesn't seem that great. That's because it doesn't work unless he's in the 5th slot. So...
And it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I've been testing it in Arena. I've been like I said earlier, I've been using my General Anakin as today, and man, when 5s dies, Rex goes constantly. Mine's like 300 speed, I think. That's something else I did this week actually that I didn't mention originally. I actually modded that team to be properly done. So General Anakin Skywalker, I loaded up with protection. I had him set up to run in my Padme team, which is where I generally run him in Arena. And by the way, if he's Gear 11, if you have a Gear 11 General Anakin Skywalker and don't know what the fuck to do with him, Whoa, I didn't mean to let that slip. I'm sorry, guys. I'll bleep it. Throw him in with Padme because he kicks ass. He absolutely smashes Malik. It's fantastic. Yeah, so that's a lot of fun.
All right, so last section, mechanics balance. Light side TB difficult is intentional, meant to be long-term thing. We've covered that already. They answered that a couple times,
But
I guess.
hold on. Just one thing I do want to mention. They did say the difficulty. They didn't actually mention... I don't know what they mean by difficulty, because the difficulty everyone's complaining about is combat mission difficulty. There hasn't been a ton of complaining, well, there has been some, but not a ton, about the galactic power requirements. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next territory battle, those galactic power requirements will rework just a little bit.
I guess we'll find out what happens. It says crewless ships are balance tested at Relic 7, so that's good to know. If Relic tiers increase, ships will be looked into, and I completely agree with that because my 7-star Hyena Bomber wrecks face. So there's only been 2 things that I've ever wailed on to get to 7-star. Nest and Hyena Bomber. I have not been disappointed with either of them. Hyena Bomber is the perfect tank ship for that Malevolence.
It is pretty good.
So it's nice to know that both the Vulture Droid and the Hyena Bomber are tested at Relic 7, and that's where their stats end up. Now, it did say if Relic tiers increase, ships will be looked into. Oh, absolutely, because you don't need to Relic 7 the character to get a Relic 7 type of ship. So...
yeah.
You just have to spend ungodly amounts of money or wait. Archetype mastery, looking at being added to places outside relics. There's part of, kind of feeds into what you were saying. Mod stats are determined when mod is rolled. What?
I assume someone asked about if the stats are determined at level 1 or something.
For those Malevolence users like me, Malevolence Vulture Droids are scaled with the capital ship, not your own. So the summon ones are better than my actual Vulture Droid.
Interesting. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That explains a lot, because I remember thinking, one of these things is not like the other. I need to figure out how that song goes. I know it's fucking says... did it again. Lots of bleeping. I know it's freaking Sesame Street, but everybody watched that as a kid, but I should remember that song. I can't remember how it goes. I just remember the words.
Which song?
I do. One of these things is not
like the other. One of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. If you guess which thing is not like the other by the time I finish my song.
There we go. So this is a totally random tangent. I'm sorry, guys. I'm tangenting. My favorite band is the Foo Fighters. Oh my God, they're so good, and I love watching them live. They're amazing. But if you've ever heard the song, oh my God, what song is it? I think it's All My Life.
Mm-hmm.
You can sing the words, and it's like the same tune. It's really, really creepy.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
It might not be All My Life. No, it's a different song.
No, once you figure it out, I'm going to have to overlay the two. That'll be great.
Yeah.
All right, finishing up this the QA, because I really want to go over Kai Adamundi's kit, but we've been having some fun tonight, so. All right,
yes.
Kai Adamundi's offense boost scales with current max health up or down. So current. Kai Adamundi's buff also works if team isn't completely Galactic Republic Jedi. So we'll go over those two things now that we know that when we get to the kit. Unique stat boosts happen before the leader ones, but stats boosts stack additively rather than multiplicative. Summon units scale off Summoner. This is where we learn that ARC Troopers is based solely off ARC's offense. And this is the fun one. No hard coding for kill orders in TB. Okay, CG.
It's the Pretender.
I love that song.
It's amazing. It's
That's a
so
great
good.
song.
Yeah, I love everything by the Foo Fighters. Everything. Yeah, I have a man crush on Dave Grohl. 100%, no doubt about it.
Important last thing that wasn't in his initial post, but important to note. Art. Don't expect a portrait of mob enforcer slapping Cup. They said that the reason is you wouldn't be able to see all of that happening in the small picture. Not because it's weird and why would you ask that, but because the detail wouldn't be there for you to know what was happening. So, why would mob enforcer slap Cup? Because mob enforcer just realized she's actually the worst character in the game, not Cup. Cup has a stun on basic. Mob enforcer does nothing.
Well, I had a thought, but I'm not gonna open that can of worms.
Let's not. Let's move on to Kayada Mundi.
Yeah. Oh, so we are gonna go over his kit.
Heck yeah, we are. We ain't stopping now. Forget the fact we have another podcast to record. We got all the time. I got all the time in the world.
Hold on. I gotta find something to play.
We have not been partaking in beverages tonight.
Here's something. This is a sounder I've not heard in a long, long time.
Someone has been very bad at trivia. It's time for that naughty boy to get punished.
I want you to just grab me and take me.
Why did the young Gamorrean guard not pursue a better career than pizza delivery? He could only get a job at the Hut. Misa love boomboxes.
And it makes my cloaca throb with arousal.
It's such a great sounder that we...
It's so good.
Anyone that hasn't listened in like the last 70 episodes, 75 episodes possibly,
yeah, probably,
has no idea what any of that is from.
Yes, not a clue.
In case you were wondering,
so funny.
Wink had a punishment at one point to read chicken erotica on the podcast. I don't know what podcast it was.
Episode 71, I think.
Episode 71.
It was a long time ago.
Go listen. It's... I had to mute my mic because I could not stop laughing.
I gave it my all too. I mean, I tried to sell it as much as I could. It was pretty good stuff.
Oh, dude, it was. You should be on Broadway. Let's just say that. It was so good. Right. So, Kai Adamundi, aka Conehead, and no, we're not talking about Dan Aykroyd. Kai Adamundi, the High Council Jedi. Let's go. I'm super stoked for this character. I can't wait to get him in 2022. I will love him when I unlock him. It'll be great.
He is, of course, a light side character. He is an attacker. He is Galactic Republic and a Jedi. He's a formidable Jedi Master who shifts between Ataru and Makasashi lightsaber forms. Sounds like a badass, man.
Dude, this character is so freaking cool. I want him so bad. Like, I can't even explain to you like how disappointed I am that I don't know when I'm going to unlock him.
Yeah, well,
because he's one of those I'm like, boom, we're going to Gear 11 right freaking now. Let's go. Super cool character.
Based on how Territory Battle has gone so far, I'm pretty confident that within my first 2 attempts after getting Art Trooper finished, I will be getting Kaya-Mundi shards. So I can't wait to get to that point.
Is that the bet? Within the first 2, you get a Kaya-Mundi shard?
That can be a bet.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. That's an interesting one. We'll see what happens. All right. Anyways, basic ability, versatile strike. Final text: deal physical damage to the target enemy. Pretty simple, right? Well, guess what? This dude much like CLS, has two forms. He has Ataru form and he has Makashi form. If he's in Atari form, he attacks a second time. If he's in Makashi form, he gains 15% turn meter and recovers 10% protection. So
That's nasty. I like it.
either one of them, I will take. That is awesome. That is a really awesome basic ability.
Here's what's cool about this. For the territory battle specifically, here's what's ironic. We didn't talk about this team, but there's theory crafting on Reddit of a General Anakin lead, but that's actually the lead they have in here is a similar team comp to what that theory crafter said. But anyway, the thing I like about this, so the attack again is huge in this territory battle. Unfortunately, it's going to be 2022, like you said, before we give him 7-star. But, I mean, he is built to crush this territory battle. Double tap, amazing against the freaking battle droids. And then it's like, oh shit, he's getting low, so what am I going to do? I am going to switch him to Makashi. And he's going to get 15% turn meter and recover protection. Super cool. I'm totally digging it.
Rapasta! Oh, I'm getting so distracted. All right. Yeah, this dude, this is a really awesome basic ability.
Special one.
Special one, adaptive form. This is the one where you get to choose his form. So much like the
2-turn cooldown. Every other turn he can switch his stuff.
Is CLS's a 2-turn cooldown? His is more, isn't it?
3, I believe.
Yeah, I thought it was maybe one more.
But never mind. He gains 100% turn meter too. So
good point. Great point.
He can do it every turn,
switch forms, dispel all debuffs, and gain 100% turn meter. So basically, you can switch forms and then take another turn. But you go between the forms. So the different forms, this is what you get from them. Very cool for each of them. Ataru form. This is the one where it makes you attack again. So it's very much the attack form. 100% offense, plus 30% defense penetration, and plus 20 speed. That's Ataru form. His other form, Makashi form. 100% counter chance, plus 60% tenacity, which if you enter in the base tenacity is probably going to be close to 100. And crit hit immunity. Very defensive heavy in the Makashi form. Not to mention still being able to attack.
We've never seen anyone that has an ability you can use that changes their speed. That's kind of cool.
Well, the other cool thing about Makashi form is even though it doesn't change your speed, you have a 100% counter chance. So every time he's hit and counterattacks, he's gaining 50% turn meter and protection.
Yes, that is a really good point. That pairs great with that basic ability, no doubt.
Yep.
Okay, so you can see in this GIF, he goes through the two forms. If you were a lightsaber form, would you be Makashi or Ataru?
You know what? Honestly, I've thought about this before, and I don't know that it is called a certain form.
Wait.
I've thought about it. How would I hold my lightsaber in a battle? It's neither of these. But when I used to play baseball and I played softball a lot after high school. You ever just stand with your bat like almost leaning against your shoulder? I don't know if you played baseball or softball. I always used to stand like when I was waiting for my at bat with it like my hands right up here at my chest, the bat basically almost leaning against my shoulder, straight up by my head. I'm pretty sure if I had a lightsaber, that's how I would be standing.
Okay.
So I guess the closest to it is the Ataru form because it's almost that.
Yeah.
But I would look way more casual, I think.
I'm pretty Ataru form whenever I'm batting. I'm kind of up and out. I'm not like in tight. But I gotta say, if I was one of these lightsaber forms, I don't know. I'm kind of digging the Makashi. There's
another Jedi, and I can't remember which one it is, who has the same Makashi form. Is it Dooku? No, Dooku might be Ataru. I'm not sure. Well, you can sell from the GIF that Yoda is right there in Ataru. So he's running Ataru too. But, yeah. Definitely very cool the way he has two different forms of holding his lightsaber and being prepared to battle, which are actually rooted in real forms.
So his special 2, Decisive Thrust, that has a 4-turn cooldown, he is in a Taryu form. I wish they would have showed it with him in a Taryu form and in Makashi form. That would be kind of cool, because I just want to see, like they basically had to do double mechanics on everything with this.
Double, like, sorry. The way it looks, basically.
Well,
because he's got to have one for each of them.
Starts from a different position.
Yeah.
Ends at the same, but it's still like a different path, I would assume.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how different, because this is obviously showing a Taru form in Special 2. So, yeah, we'll see. Chicken Bottom is making fun of me again.
Killing me. Oh, that's funny. Anyway, this special ability, the final attack, still physical damage target enemy. This attack deals 100% damage for each Galactic Republic Jedi ally. If Kai Adimundi is using a Taryu form, this ability defeats the enemy, resets all of his cooldowns. And this ability defeats the enemy. It resets all of his cooldowns. I'm sorry. If he's using Makashi form, dispel all debuffs on Galactic Republic Jedi allies, and they gain 25% turn meter. That's pretty nasty. That's pretty nasty. Like a mass dispel and a turn meter gainer. I mean, using him with Kenobi and whoever. I mean, that's gonna be a lot of dispels. You're not gonna have a debuff issue with Kai. A GK team with Kai. With Cam on it. I'm just gonna say Cam. Anyway, okay, so here's where things get super tricky. His third special, he has 2 different ones, and they are actually different abilities based on whether he is in a Taryu or Makashi. So he has Special 3A, which is a Taryu lunge. They both have 3-turn cooldown. Deal physical damage target enemy and inflict armor shred.
As if he needed anything else in this kit to be awesome. Now he can do armor shred.
Well, it's crazy. We didn't see armor shred. Sabine was the only one that had it forever. Like, we used Theorycraft so much around phase 2 with using Sabine. Then they added Zelbar. Now it's Gas. Now it's Cam. So I'm digging it.
I just learned something. Gas has armor shred. Good to know. I don't have him, so I don't know anything about his kit. Makashi Jab.
Cooldown 3. The Makashi Jab. Final text. Daze all enemies for 2 turns and deal physical damage target enemy. This attack can't be evaded. He has 2. So that's General Anakin has basically these 2 abilities, an AoE daze and then like an armor shred, except he does both of them at the same time. Cam does them based on what attack modes he's in. Yeah. So very neat. Obviously not as good as Gas, because who doesn't love having Gas? But this is that was intentional.
Nice one.
I do like what they did here. So let's move on to his unique abilities. Unique 1 Jedi Council final text with a Zeta. At the start of battle, if all allies are Galactic Republic, they have plus 30 speed, plus 40% max health, and plus 20% offense. Galactic Republic Jedi allies with a support or healer role have additional offense equal to 10% of their max health.
Important. That is probably one of the most important lines of this guy's kit. Barriss, Luminari, Jedi Consular. There are so many supports that you just do not think about that may be good. Noodle Slap Barriss Offie. That's her new nickname. Noodle Slap Barriss Offie. Might actually be good.
Think about
how much health does Barriss Offie have? A lot.
If you get a character with 100,000 health, 10% of that's 10,000.
Hold on.
That's a lot.
We are going to SWGOH right now Because I want to know what Relic 7 Barisofi's health is.
Check her health and her damage number, and we'll come back to it in 1 second.
I got it.
I will. Okay.
Yeah, I'm quick,
That was
man.
fast.
I'm quick tonight. All right, her health
Like a
at
ninja.
Relic 7 is 75,000.
Okay.
Her physical damage
That's
number is
obviously not modded.
4844.
4844. So even with great damage numbers on her, you're 6,000. So modded,
maybe not.
You could easily get her to 120, 130k health. So I mean, that's 13,000 damage. That is, I mean, those are some pretty fat numbers. I mean, that's many multiple increases on the health, and then you're also talking about a 40% max health.
Yes.
From this ability.
No.
And I assume that would be factored in because that is their max health. That's nasty. Just nasty stuff. Digging it.
Oh man, I want now. See, now I'm playing games here. What is Luminara's? Because I've always liked Luminara.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and go to Unique 2 Master of Forms, and I'm going to get through it before you find Luminara. Final
Too
text,
late, but go ahead.
Cam starts the battle using Ataru form and has an additional ability depending on which form he's using. When Coyote Mundi switches to Makashi form, he recovers 10% protection and taunts for 3 turns. So Makashi form is the form that he recovers 10% on his basic.
So he's taunting. So let's go look at his health numbers at Gear 13. This is the only chink in the armor on this character, I feel like. Because he's a taunting guy. He's not a tank, but he taunts, which is a first, I think. His Gear 13, not Relic, no Relic 1, just Gear 13. His health is only 37,000 and his protection is only 47,000. So when you go into Makashi form, you are exposing him a lot.
No, you're not. He has 40% max health. I mean,
it adds a little bit, but it's not
big.
those aren't tank numbers.
It adds 15,000. I mean, you're at 50,000.
Yeah, but what is your normal tank health at modded at Gear 13? It's not
Mike
55,000.
Is completely max, and he's at 100k with mods. It's not
100K health.
To get 90. He's not. It's not crazy to get 90% from mods by using mods. I mean,
I don't.
Yeah,
okay, I'm not saying he's going to be squishy, but he's not going to be tank numbers. So Makashi form is going to expose him pretty well. You're 100k, you said. That was health, right?
Yes.
Not health plus protection. Because with
just
only
health.
with 15,000 you're adding onto him, that makes him 55,000 health. Or sorry, 53,000 health with 47,000 protection. That doesn't even get to 100,000. But basically, even with those numbers, he doesn't even get to the 100,000 health, which you're talking about on Kenobi, which doesn't even factor in his protection. He's not getting the type of numbers a tank would. So taunting with him is exposing him.
I do not agree.
But how? Why don't you agree?
Well, if you would shut up, I would explain.
All right, please explain.
All right, so the question is, how do you mod him? Because he does have the protection recovery, which I think is kind of interesting. That's going to throw a kink into general modding. But let's just say you're modding for complete health. He has the 40% max health. I just went to my General Kenobi's mods. He gets 74% additional health. So if I take Coyote Mundi's health, multiply it by that 40%, or here, I'll do this. It was 37,000, and I will do it times 1.74, and then I will multiply that by 1.4. That gets him to 90,000. That's only 10,000 less than my completely maxed General Kenobi.
But what's his
I mean,
base protection before mods? General Kenobi.
Let me find it. I don't know because I don't care about his protection, but okay, so his base protection is basically right at 60,000.
And what's his relic tier?
He's maxed.
Okay, Kai-Adamundi at maxed relic tier is 47,000 protection. So
He's
okay,
not that far behind General Kenobi.
All right. But you're that's a lot of modding based on health that is not helping any of his other stats. So I'm with you. If you want to keep him alive, that's probably your best option as far as mods go. Because if he's taunting, you do not want him to die. So that's probably
it's going to depend on what team he's in too, because there are teams that give health bonuses. There's health recovery. He obviously has these mechanics where he gains protection.
Right, because if he's in Makashi form, he's countering 100% of the time.
And recovering
10%
protection each
you
time.
might actually want protection on him because of that.
Because
instead of that,
what did you say his base protection was?
His base protection at Gear 13 is 47,500. His base protection at Relic 7 is also 47,500. So he doesn't gain anything from relics.
So if you went 3 protection primaries on him, you would be at 81,000 protection. So, I mean, you're recovering just over 8,000 protection for each attack. I mean, those are nice numbers, but might not be bad to kind of mix it up a little bit. That way you have a nice base health, but it also depends on what you're using them for. I mean, if he's susceptible to, expose or something like that, you might not want to go with health because that would obviously be bad. But protection, you get a fatter increase on it, but he kind of has a bigger base health in a way with this unique ability, especially since unique ability actually doesn't matter. It's multiplied, so it doesn't matter. But yeah.
Here's another thing to mention.
Anyway. Hold
Kenobi's
on.
base armor.
Finishing...
Kenobi's base armor 45%.
Okay.
Kai-Adamundi's base armor is 50% at Gear 13, Relic 7.
Oh, okay. So he's gonna be a little bit better at shedding, minimizing damage amounts coming in, but he just doesn't have as much actual amounts. So he's a little bit more susceptible to things like exposed percent health effects, and abilities to ignore defense, but he's going to be a little bit more he's going to be better at holding up against attackers and such.
That'll be interesting.
So
I really
also,
regardless
part of
of
this unique ability is
adding in his 2 extra special abilities.
Right, yeah. No, that's just rehashing the abilities where I talked about. Never mind. Okay. Yeah.
I just want to say this. I absolutely love this kit. Now, it is kind of involved, but that's because it's
awesome.
2 kits built into one. This character, I love CLS. CLS, when he was introduced, up until now, even now, one of the coolest characters in the game. One of the coolest.
100%.
Because he has 2 very... I mean, even his kit isn't built the way this one, where you have different abilities based on where he's offense or defense focused. But with Kai-Adamundi, everything around him is based on what you switch him to. It is literally build your own character. You got 2 options with this guy. And his kit just seems so cool to me.
Yeah.
It's a huge bummer how long it's going to take to unlock this guy, because I really want to play with this character. He looks super fun. It doesn't matter what I play with him in. I think he will be fun to make some of those older Jedi better, especially the healers and the supports, where if you wanted to make another team with just him and them, and you don't even have to use him because he doesn't have a leader ability, but he still does all of that for those characters. This dude is going to be super fun when we are able to unlock him.
Yep, I agree.
So,
I agree. All right. Man, all right, we got to end this thing. This might be the longest SOP ever, and we still have to talk
it's
about
not definitely
Mandalorian.
not ever. I remember going
not?
with Metaverse, 3 hours long.
Really?
We've had many a 3-hour podcast, but we've gone pretty long on this one. We had a lot to talk about. So
That didn't surprise me.
yeah. Last things first. First things last. Whatever. If you want to hang out with us, we always like to talk about this stuff before we lead into the podcast because a lot. You know, it's funny. I will say this for everyone that's there in the chat, everyone listening to the podcast, that are in our Discord. What you guys say in Discord shapes this podcast, whether it's feedback or not.
100%.
Your guys' thoughts on all of these issues make me think about the things in this game. And whether it's 3 days before the podcast, the day of the podcast, the things that you guys say and the way you make me think with the things you say in Discord shapes this podcast. So I want to say thank you to you and for everyone else that's interested in joining that conversation and, you know, helping my thoughts, helping Wink's thoughts, and just kind of opening our minds to new thoughts, new things. Discord.me/ShatteredOrder is our Discord. We have a lot of very, very, very awesome people in there. I am very thankful for the community we have around this podcast because you guys make this fun for me. I mean, I can't say it enough. Our Discord podcast, or our Discord for the podcast, is one of my favorite things that I do every day. Just interacting with everyone and having conversations. So thank you for that. I would love to have people, longtime listeners, join the Discord. New listeners, join the Discord because you guys make this game for me. There's a lot of times I would have quit if there wasn't for this community. So thank you to all of you. Come hang out with us. We have a lot of fun in this game. So that's what I wanted to say. If you enjoyed this podcast, I know that we like to rant. We like to argue. I mean, that's just the way things go, right? Let's pretend that this podcast is just a conversation between two friends. You don't always agree with your friends, right? That's the way it goes. So,
Oh, hell no.
no, honestly, I probably disagree with my friends more than I agree with them, but that's the way it goes. If you enjoy that and you want to support this show, you can go to patreon.com/ShatteredOrder and support the show. There's a lot of different options there, from $1 to $5 to, I don't even know what the highest is. There's just ways to support the show. Or if you want to,
believe me, there's no limit. If you want to
you
give
can
us
do
$1 million a
whatever
month,
you want.
please do it. We would love it. If you do that, I will quit my day job.
I will fight with Wink every day.
Yes, exactly.
But the
want to
only
give a shout out to Spywood Fu, who joined as a Patreon this week also.
Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome. Thanks, Spywood. I appreciate you. If you want to do it for free and you use Amazon Prime, which I do, I mean, like, I really wish the Amazon guys would ring the doorbell when they drop their crap off like the last 2 days, but I'm just saying, if you use Amazon Prime, if you got Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime. And Twitch
That's
Prime
true.
gives you 1 free sub on Twitch every
yes,
month.
It does.
So if you were to add that onto our Twitch, it would further help to support us without costing you any money that you wouldn't already be spending on Twitch.
It's something you're literally already paying for.
Yep, pretty much.
You're just then taking a couple seconds to support a show that you enjoy. So we would greatly appreciate it.
Going down the line for the other things, follow us on Twitter at Shattered Order. We have a lot of conversations there as well. I'm at GoodNightPunk. I don't know what your ad is for Twitter.
At DM Winkler 11.
At DM Winkler 11. Those are our 3 Twitters. If you want to catch us on there, that's what you can do. Last thing, any feedback, intros, anything you want to add to us, you can send to theshatteredorder@gmail.com. We check it daily. We always read our emails. So if you want to say something there, send it there. I think that is it. Wink, do you have anything else you want to say before we cut this episode? I was going to say short, but it's not short. Before we cut this episode long.
Just so everyone is clear, we are still friends. This is